Washington Post, before users can view the language in newly flagged tweets, they will need to click on a screen that says the Twitter rules about abusive behavior apply to this tweet. However, Twitter has determined that it may be in the public's interest for the tweet to remain available. The Mind Unleashed reports Twitter will deprioritize the labeled tweets so they would be seen by fewer people, which adds that the policy will go into effect immediately and will not apply to other influencers and leaders. It's also not retroactive. A Brazilian Air Force pilot, who was one of the crew members on their way to serve as the advance guard for Brazil President Bolsonaro during the forthcoming G20 summit in Osaka, was arrested during a stopover in Seville en route to Japan, after Spanish customs officers discovered enough cocaine on him to fuel a small Wall Street bank's party for a month, in what has become an international embarrassment for Bolsonaro, who is known as Brazil's Trump and also the country's self-professed law and order president. The Mind Unleashed reports the 38-year-old airman appeared in court Wednesday on charges of drug trafficking after Spanish officials discovered 37 packets of cocaine weighing a total of 39 kilos in baggage. Officers from Spain's Guardia Civil took the crew member into custody, and a police spokesman in Seville said the whole bag was filled with drugs. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Jared Gilchrist was surfing when he was attacked by a shark that took his leg. Thanks for being with us, big guy.
Thanks, this is tight.
What was going through your mind when you first realized that you were there with a shark all alone in open water?
I felt like a total badass. It bit into my leg and started shaking it back and forth, and at that point I just felt, yes, this is sweet.
I can't imagine what it would have been like to see the teeth sinking into your leg like that.
It was sick. At one point I just saw my leg just floating there in the water. It was awesome.
Okay, we're joined now via satellite by Dr. Brian Caddy. What condition was Jared's leg in when you first saw him?
It was in pretty rough shape. The shark had scissored through the muscle, and it was all just like hanging off the bone. It was nuts.
Yeah, I kept touching it. It was slimy as hell.
Yeah, totally. It was insane.
Well, doctor, how do you deal with something like this?
Well, you're never fully prepared for an injury this freaking cool. We just tried to stop the blood loss, and we took a bunch of photos because it's hysterical to freak out the nurses with gnarly shit like this.
This is the Onion News Network. Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, coming at you live from the Keene, New Hampshire studios. With you tonight, it's Aria,
Melanie,
and the nobody formerly known as Rich Paul.
And, it's a beautiful day here in the Shire. Well, here in the Shire is how I would prefer to characterize it. But, I mean, it is a neighborhood as well. Did you happen to hear the crash out there about 20 minutes ago?
I missed it.
It was extremely amusing. Apparently, this girl could not take her eyes off me while she was driving. And she drove up onto the curb.
You get her number?
No, because I don't date stupid people.
Yeah,
it
doesn't sound like that kind of staring. I wasn't there. That's not usually what...
Yeah, gawking would be more accurate, I think. So she drove up onto the curb, completely wrecked her front passenger side tire. Just completely wrecked it. So,
wow.
Yeah, I just continued walking. You can't fix stupid people, right?
Yeah.
So that's how my day is going, but it's the least innocuous thing that's happened to me while walking so far this week.
Well, at least he didn't have her arrested for mopery with intent to gawk.
I think there's some other crimes she might have committed there. I don't think that's one of them.
That's true. So, of course, in the news, speaking of cops and people being arrested, evidently some extreme form of cop blocking resulted in a cop being bitten and his cruiser stolen. Melanie, do you happen to have that in front of you?
Yeah, so this was in Nashua, New Hampshire, so that's about 20 minutes from where I live.
Nashua cops are pretty nasty too.
I wouldn't bite a cop. That just strikes me as nasty. Like,
If I was going to bite a cop in New Hampshire, it would be a Keene cop.
I tend not to bite people.
well, yeah.
By whatever means necessary.
I don't think I've bitten a person past like 2 years old. I don't know.
You bite children?
She said she meant her own age.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I bit my cat once. It had bitten me, and it was a sort of a friendly nibble back.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I've never bitten a cop. Out of all the human beings that I would think of biting, a cop would be really low on the list of priorities.
I don't even want to touch a cop. Then I got to go wash my hands.
I know. It's so disgusting. Now, isn't this like, can't this be like an attempted murder charge or something like that?
I don't think you're going to get that in New Hampshire. There's places you probably would. Like, oh, he swatted at me. Attempted murder of a police officer.
Well,
but
I was
he
thinking
had
more
some communicable disease, then
That's what I was thinking along the lines of.
if he had AIDS or Hep C or something like that, but I haven't seen that
was the
story.
case, but it doesn't say anything like that. So they'll probably send him to the hospital to run every test that the hospital offers. But
oh yeah, cops get the best treatment, obviously.
to be fair, whenever you get in like a minor, like not a wreck, but like if somebody bumps into you, they're like, "Oh, do you need to go to the hospital?" No.
Yeah.
But this is
Well, they can't be sued for asking when they didn't need to.
right, and that's true, and that's fair. So I guess any other industry would do that also. But to be fair, they are applying the same standard of no medical treatment necessary equals the hospital.
True.
So this man is now being charged with several felonies. Do we have any idea what these felonies are? Obviously, stealing the police cruiser is going to be a felony. That tends to be frowned upon by
Cop
the state.
biting.
Is that a felony?
That's probably felony. I don't know. I would imagine that's felonious battery.
I think it's felonious battery in Louisiana. That might be a unique charge.
Felonious is definitely. Well, no, not like literally the statute is called felonious battery, but there's different forms of battery.
So was he actually cop blocking, or did the cops attempt to like? I mean, that would be question number 2 for sure.
Oscar
Has he been in the studio before? Oscar Alicia, 24. He hopped into the police cruiser at 11:54 a.m. and apparently the officer in question was conducting a traffic stop. So I guess he was cop blocking. May not have actually been part of cop block, but by definition was cop blocking at that point.
Yeah, so presumably if this was a minor traffic infraction, the cop decided to abandon that to go
I just want to know
taking his car.
I just want to know if this guy was wearing a cape, because he's my hero now.
Well, it doesn't say he was, so he probably wasn't.
I'm going to assume he was probably not wearing a cape.
Not all heroes do.
Evidently, the cop tried to stop him, but the guy drove off with the driver's door open, and the guy in question, Oscar Alicia, is accused of biting the officer during the incident. So he jumps into the driver's seat. The cop sees it and starts running after, saying, "No, don't do that," or whatever. Probably with some profanity in there and some more coarse commands, because he's a cop, and that's generally what they do. And during the course of this, presumably tries to pull the man out of the vehicle, and the man responds by biting him.
Yeah. Usually if you get close enough to bite a cop, you don't get away. So that's really impressive.
Well, he didn't quite get away. He drove off the road and hit a fence and a porch at a nearby residence. So this dude was probably on meth. I mean, this is the kind of thing you do on meth, really. You jump.
They are big with the biting and the face eating, aren't they?
I think bath salts is more about the face eating.
Oh, okay.
Never having done it, I'm not 100% sure.
You've never even eaten face?
I've never eaten bath salts.
Oh, okay.
No comment on the other question. So Alicia is charged with 4 felony counts of reckless conduct, as well as charges of theft of a motor vehicle, theft of a firearm, robbery, simple assault on a police officer. This is a very long list.
And now, so I didn't link the version I wanted to, and I can't find the longer version with more details. They're charging him with theft of a firearm because there was a firearm in the car when he drove it off. He didn't take the gun off of the cop.
Right. It was probably the shotgun.
Yeah, I don't know that you
AR.
survive that, and I don't know why you would have unattended firearms laying in your unlocked car. That's also kind of a bad plan, but
because they're cops, they don't have to follow decency and common sense. They have little badges that say they don't have to.
Yeah, well, also, if it was a locked, it could have been in a locked rack. Some of them lock into racks that are locked
true.
with a handcuff key, in which case he could have been charged with stealing it, even though he would never have been in a position to actually take it away from the car.
Which, that seems like a exaggerated charge to me. I'm sure it's legal, but...
Yeah, removal of a firearm, maybe.
Yeah, so if if someone steals a car, and there happens to be something in the car that they just didn't know was there, yeah, you stole the car. I don't know about the other stuff.
So continuing on with this list of charges: resisting detention, resisting arrest, obstructing government administration, operating without a valid license, and 3 counts of conduct after an accident. Melanie, do you know what that means, conduct after an accident?
It means leaving the scene of an accident.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
I'm sorry.
It sounds like either running off, refusing to give your insurance. I guess you don't need insurance information here. Refusing to give your information here.
The cop needs the insurance information, I would think. Right? It was his vehicle.
Yeah, it would have been his
ran
insurance.
into anyone else.
Well, he hit a porch. He hit someone's fence and porch.
So if you run into people, you have to give them your info.
Yeah, the reason is when they charge you in New Hampshire, they charge you using the title of the RSA, which sometimes makes no sense as a charge, like conduct after an accident.
That's a very unusual charge because conduct is like a synonym for behavior, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's basically
so breathing
it sounds like
is
they're
conduct.
Charging him with you did a thing.
Yeah,
you existed after this accident, and that is
the conduct of after an accident heading is above a list of things that you can't do after an accident.
Okay, yeah, refusing to stop.
But I mean, he did stop after hitting someone's porch.
Well,
it would seem. Give us a call. Tell us what you think about cops and these sort of ridiculous charges. That number's 855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE, as in Free Talk Live, or use the Discord call-in lines, which you can find at discord.freetalklive.com.
Ike was such a sweet, lovable animal, and people would want to pet him, and they'd come up, and they'd get close to him, and it would be this instant, oh! My dad didn't want to touch him. It's like, ooh, get the stinky dog away from me.
Even after we'd give her a bath, she would still stink.
Very stinky, both bad breath and bad gas. I asked the vet, and he said some dogs are just stinky.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa.
The digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
The ingredients convinced me that it was definitely worth trying. After about a week, he started smelling normal. My husband and I were really kind of astonished.
Dinovite is nutrition.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
Don't you hate that feeling in the pit of your stomach when the police pull you over? Most people have no idea how to handle it properly, and they promptly get fed into the municipal fee-generating meat grinder. Or maybe you recall that feeling you get when you go to the mailbox and see one or more letters from the IRS. You get a sense of impending doom, don't you? So let me ask you, if you could learn how to use the law to beat the IRS, traffic tickets, almost any courtroom scenario, collectors, credit card debt, and even mortgage debt because of fraud perpetrated against you, would that be worth knowing about? Don't laugh. Investigate. Check out the life-changing benefits of the Lighthouse Law Club at their website, lighthouselaw.club. That's lighthouselaw.club. And while you're at it, visit the Lighthouse Law Club YouTube channel. you might be in for a pleasant surprise.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Take control of the airways. Talk about whatever is on your mind. That number's 855-450-3733. And with you tonight, it's Aria,
Melanie,
and nobody.
And moving on from the discussion about the cop, because there's not really much more that can really be discussed on that particular subject. I mean, the guy bit a police officer and stole the car.
Well, he took the car.
He took the car. That's correct. Because as we were talking about during the break, he can't actually steal it because it doesn't belong to the cop. It belongs to the state. Which raises the question, you know, if you're a taxpayer, doesn't that police cruiser belong as much to you as it does to the police officer?
Well, more so because if they stole your funds and involuntarily converted them into a police cruiser, then it seems like you would own that and whatever difference between the value. Also, I would even go further and to say that if this was a pile of cash or a building, then I would more go into that. This is a weapon that someone is currently using to commit aggression. So at any point, anybody, whether they're a net taxpayer or not, can take a weapon away from an aggressor without having to own the weapon.
I would absolutely agree with that sentiment. And I wish more people did. Because that is the proper way to view police officers, of course. They are out there utilizing force, violence, and aggression against ordinary, peaceful citizens who are just going about their lives 99.9% of the time, not really causing any particular problems for anyone except perhaps themselves. And this, in the eyes of the state, is just an absolute travesty that needs to be punished with kidnapping, extortion, fines, up to and including the death penalty, realistically.
Yeah, so not in New Hampshire anymore, but yeah, in about half the states, they can just straight up kill you.
Well, sort of not in New Hampshire anymore, but if the police have the authority to kill you if you're resisting arrest, then the death
Okay, yeah,
penalty
that is true. Okay, so, yeah,
is
so
still in place.
Yeah, they will still kill you. They just will do it extrajudicially. And no, it's a bad plan at this point in time.
It
to
is.
go and just take any running police car.
Yeah,
but it's not stealing.
It's definitely not something that we would recommend.
Well, if you're going to do it, think ahead and have an escape plan. But don't do it. Yeah, it's a bad plan.
And definitely don't run into a random person's porch, because that is aggression.
Yeah, that's what makes me think this guy was probably on meth or very, 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 very drunk. Because you just don't do that sort of thing when you're sober. Well, I don't know. There was that. She came pretty close to hitting someone's porch. And Fitz, if there had been one right there near the curb, she would have hit it.
Or if the curb wasn't there.
Yeah, she's probably neither drunk nor...
Who's she?
Stoned on meth. I don't know. Some stupid girl who was staring at me and forgot how to drive. Or forgot that she was driving. So you don't necessarily have to be on meth or drunk.
Or he could have knew the woman that was pulled over, or he could have just had enough and he had met his limit of just BS from cops in general.
But it's the hitting the fence and the porch thing afterward that makes me think, oh, okay, this guy was tweaking.
Yeah, but I don't know how well people drive when they're being chased. And they're being chased in a car that's not a car they're used to. I'm not
probably more
that.
Powerful than they're used to.
Yeah, because they're used to driving plastic, and these things are metal. So
yeah, my last 2 cars have been ex-cop cars, and they do have a pair.
Yeah, they do. I noticed that as well on the time I took it up to the hotel room. It's definitely got some roar to it.
Oh,
if
yeah.
you floor that pedal. So it's true. He may not have been expecting that.
Yeah, he might be used to driving tiny little cars.
So don't steal a cop car, but if you do, be aware that it's probably got more power.
And you should have an escape plan.
And you should have an escape plan. But again, don't steal a cop car, and definitely don't bite police officers. Those disease-ridden things that cannot be good for you.
Also, if you're Jewish or Muslim, that's not kosher.
Yeah, it's not acceptable to eat bacon. But moving on, there's stuff happening in Hong Kong and China, and I have not followed this very closely beyond knowing that because of some weird British Empire crap, the city of Hong Kong is not technically part of China.
Yeah, the Chinese leased Hong Kong to the British Empire for 100 years, which, ironically enough, made Hong Kong one of the most prosperous countries in the world because the Brits, as Milton Friedman pointed out, wrote some simple laws against robbery, rape, and murder, and then just sat around drinking tea and let the economy evolve naturally, and it evolved a very powerful economy.
Interesting. I have not followed any of this very closely. Evidently, after more than 150 years as a British colony, Hong Kong became a special administrative region of China in July 1997. At the time, many in the bustling city and global financial hub weren't sure what to make of the new Communist Party overseers in Beijing. Well, I do know that Hong Kong is a fairly capitalist city, or at least corporatist, right?
Yeah, and I would say it's probably closer to capitalism than we are. It's got pretty free markets.
Well, that's good on them for that. But the idea then of them being overseen by the Communist Party in Beijing would certainly be problematic. But on Monday, exactly 22 years later, a crowd of protesters smashed their way into the central chambers of Hong Kong's parliament. Inside, they spray-painted graffiti critical of Hong Kong's government, and one protester placed the old colonial flag of Hong Kong over the city's official emblem. So, are these people protesting? Do they want to return to British rule?
Well, they want to get out from under the Chinese. They had it pretty good under British rule.
I'm not going to remark on that. I can't advocate colonialism. And even if they want to be colonized, I still think it was, Stockholm Syndrome would be a fairly good descriptor of why they would want to be back under British rule rather than being free.
Well, it's almost if you get moved to a supermax, or if you're in a county jail and you get moved to a supermax prison, you might miss the county jail by comparison.
That's true as well, but that's also almost literally Stockholm Syndrome.
Well, Stockholm Syndrome is more you've come to identify with the captors. In this case, it's just...
Well, it's since taken on a broader meaning than that.
Okay. Fair enough.
But the scenes mark a new level of intensity for protests that began this year in response to a bill that would have allowed extraditions to mainland China. Hong Kong didn't... Oh, this is interesting news for cryptocurrency at the very least, because when China closed all of their exchanges or whatever they did, they made Bitcoin mining illegal. Everybody who was interested took their business to Hong Kong instead. So this could be bad news for the people who went to Hong Kong to avoid the oppressive Chinese government and its attempts to tell them what currencies they could and could not use.
True.
But the storming of the Legislative Council presents the strongest challenge to Chinese control of Hong Kong, and many have argued that it is a culmination of more than a decade of frustration over repeated encroachments by Beijing on Hong Kong's special status. There's more of this story, so don't go anywhere. This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE, as in freedom, 855-450-3733.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite.
Dynavite for life.
Pick up 2 tubes of Dogosuds.
Get the 3rd tube free.
Peppermint, tea tree, lavender, Dogosud shampoo.
Made with all-natural coconut, jojoba, aloe. Great for healthy skin and soft, shiny coats.
But no itchy, harsh chemicals.
Lather up, rinse away.
Try Dogosuds. Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynavite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
You love Bitcoin. It's the future, right? Well, no, not if everyone stops using it. I mean, think about it. How many places in your town take Bitcoin? 1? None? Let's be real. If this Bitcoin thing is ever going to happen, it's going to need your help. The good news is, the guys at AnyPay have your back. We built a website called helpmetakebitcoin.com. And it's a place you can send any business. And they'll be set up to take Bitcoin in 5 minutes. helpmetakebitcoin.com.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up in any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Live video of our key New Hampshire-based shows is streamed on DLive. Please follow and share at dlive.lrn.fm. That's dlive.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-3733. Tell us about whatever is on your mind. With you tonight, it's Aria.
Melanie.
And the nobody formerly known as Rich Paul.
So getting back to the story about Hong Kong, evidently things suck there, which isn't terribly surprising. That's what happens when you have an out-of-control government that likes oppressing people, and that's pretty much what the Chinese government is. I can't say that I blame the people of Hong Kong. I mean, the Chinese government, they do kill people to harvest their organs. They are running concentration camps. They are using facial recognition software. In order to buy a knife, you have to have some sort of unique identifier laser etched into the handle of the blade, into the handle of the knife.
Wow.
All of this is taking place right now in China, so I understand why they would be like...
Do they have hacksaws there?
I don't know. Why?
Okay, because you could fix one of those knives with a hacksaw.
Yes, but then you're in possession of an illegal weapon, which is not something I would want to be in China. So on July the 1st of 2013, the 6th anniversary of the handover of Hong Kong, an annual protest held on the day swelled to its largest number, with an estimated 500,000 people turning out. Many were motivated to protest proposed changes to Hong Kong's post-colonial constitution, known as the Basic Law. Is that what you were referring to earlier?
Well, the Basic Law, I believe, was instituted when the British left and handed them over to the Chinese to govern. Hong Kong's been a semi-autonomous zone, so it's been immune from a lot of Chinese law, making it putting it in the weird position of being effectively a capitalist province of a communist country.
Right, but what is the Basic Law?
Well, the Basic Law is their constitution. I don't know what's contained in it.
Okay. Evidently, the bill would have criminalized subversion against the Chinese government. After mass protests, however, Hong Kong's legislature indefinitely shelved the plan. So the government of Hong Kong appears to be trying to skirt this edge between the Chinese government and what the people of Hong Kong actually want. Now, realistically, they don't have the capabilities of fighting the Chinese government. If the Chinese government wants to take Hong Kong, then it can. And that's certainly problematic.
It certainly can. It faced a lot of trouble over Tiananmen Square. Still, in China, you can't talk about Tiananmen Square, which is pretty notable. I mean, they killed 10,000 people, so...
Yeah.
I mean, they can take it. They don't want to be in that position, I don't think, though.
This isn't the only news about Hong Kong and China. However, Nike, the athletic shoe giant, the one that recently used Colin Kaepernick in its logo, or was it Michael Vick? I know they used Kaepernick, but I think they used Vick as well.
One was a dog fighter and the other was a freedom fighter.
I know. I know. Well, I don't know if I could. I don't know if I could call Kaepernick a freedom fighter.
Well, maybe not a fighter, but okay. When you've got $1 million contract and you're willing to sacrifice that to make a point against police brutality, to me, that's some kind of heroic.
Well, he's got the $1 million at that point. So it's a good way of getting paid without suffering the brain damage of playing professional football is what I would argue. So I don't know how heroic he really was. But anyway, so the product that they were working on, they have pulled it from the shelf. It was a sneaker collaboration with a sportswear brand called Undercover, whose principal designer, his name sounds Japanese, but I guess it's Chinese, Jun Takahashi, published these unspeakable words on Twitter: "No extradition, Go Hong Kong. So Nike made its decision based on feedback from Chinese consumers, which, yeah, I mean, that's where Nikes are generally made, is it not? Aren't they typically made in China?
I think they're made in the Far East. I don't know if they're made in China. Some of the industries that originally moved to China have actually relocated to poorer countries as China has gotten richer because the labor wasn't as cheap in China anymore.
Right. Well, I mean, it's basic economics. There were a lot of poor people in China. We gave them jobs, and giving them jobs stopped them from being poor.
Yeah, see, that's what socialists don't understand about exploitations. When you exploit a circumstance, you also liquidate that circumstance. If you exploit...
I don't know if I want to use the word exploit.
Well,
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
But they use the word exploit in a much more loaded way.
Yeah, they do. And one of the reasons that I use the exploitation and liquidation idea is that I think it's a more accurate thing of what's going on. You're exploiting a temporary condition, and you're making it more temporary by exploiting it. You can't exploit the unemployed people without giving them jobs. And then once everybody has a job, well, you're just going to have to hire people with jobs, and then you're going to have to pay them more.
So the context of Nike and China is this, and Hong Kong, and they're describing it, the National Review is describing it this way, so just be advised there are quotation marks around all of this. A free, liberal, democratic, self-governing city, in quotation marks. They didn't put quotation marks there. I'm just letting you know.
Could we quotate each and every one of those terms individually?
Well, I think quoting them all would be sufficient.
Okay, true.
Was handed over to the powers that be in Beijing, a clutch of corrupt, brutal, dishonest, organ harvesting, gulag operating murderers. God, this article is not pulling any punches. As part of an agreement with the United Kingdom, who once had sovereignty over Hong Kong as a colonial power. Beijing wants Hong Kong to be more like the rest of China, and the people of Hong Kong do not. They recently took to the streets to force the reversal of a decision that would have subjected Hong Kong residents to extradition to the so-called People's Republic of China for certain crimes rather than be tried in Hong Kong under Hong Kong law.
Now, did they say there that the basic law was an agreement between the British and the Chinese?
They have not mentioned the basic law in this article. But because the government in Beijing has no compunction about trumping up charges for political prisoners, this would have represented a noose around the neck of every dissident in Hong Kong. So John Takahashi tweeted his support for liberal Democrats against mass murdering National Socialists. And Nike sided with the mass murdering National Socialists. Swoosh, there goes your soul. I like the way he phrased that. They are National Socialists. I would like to begin calling the Chinese government a Nazi regime. I mean, there's no reason not to.
Well, the reason not to is because that, in the popular mind, puts them on the right wing, and they're nowhere near the right wing. They're as far left as you can go.
It depends on what you mean by right and left, really. I would argue that the true left is the Libertarian Party, or not even the Libertarian Party, because they're much more centrist than I would like. But the anarchists are far left, is how I would phrase it.
Huh.
And authoritarianism, conservatism is far right. But even then, I mean, the whole dichotomy there, the whole dichotomy there of left versus right, it's flawed anyway. Like the Nolan chart really shows, it's more about freedom versus authoritarianism than anything else. And what particular brand the authoritarianism comes in isn't really of much significance to the person with the boot on their neck. It doesn't make a difference whether it's a progressive socialist country that's oppressing you, or if it's, a right-wing psychotic one like Hitler's Germany oppressing you. Either way, you're being oppressed.
Yeah, see...
Well, I mean, I think there's a lot of personal preference in there, which I understand that it's subjective, but it just seems like it would matter. If I had to live in either a far-left communist regime or a far-right authoritarian regime, I feel like there's one that would be worse than the other.
Really?
Yes.
On what basis?
on the basis of which things they're going to prohibit me from doing.
Okay. That's a fair point, I guess. To me, it's both undesirable. I don't know if I want to give it a lot of thought about what it would be like to live under either of these regimes. Let us know what you think. The number is 855-450-3733, 855-450-FREE, as in freedom.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com, or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
Finally, there's a way for you to get into the blockchain, the hottest financial sector without all the speculation. Now, enjoy a 27% annualized payment each month without the ups and downs of Bitcoin. Seen on programs broadcast on Fox Business News, blockchain data centers offer an equipment leasing program in the explosive digital asset marketplace. Inspired by entrepreneurs who sold picks and shovels during the gold rush, the money is in the mining equipment used to manufacture dozens of critical digital assets. Not a security IPO or note. Blockchain data centers have a proven turnkey equipment sale leaseback program with a 27% annualized lease payment deposited into your bank account each month. Don't miss this one. Stake your claim today. Call 800-600-3388. That's 800-600-3388. These valuable lease contracts won't last long. Call now. 800-600-3388. 800-600-3388. Equipment offered poses a financial risk to owners. Consult with financial professionals before purchasing. Not an offer to buy or sell a security which requires an offering document.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
A job applicant totally nails an interview with the person who will make his life a living hell for the next 5 years. And adjusting several sliders on a recording studio's mixing console pays off big time. This is the Onion Week in Review. This week, a study published by researchers at Johns Hopkins University revealed a direct correlation between breastfeeding and knowing exactly what's best for other people at all times. Overwhelming evidence indicated that the moment mothers begin breastfeeding, they develop a highly honed sense of what is wrong with others' approach to life, and were able to loudly enumerate those faults with total confidence in their accuracy. Researchers noted that the practice greatly boosted a young mother's immunity to the viewpoints of others. And in this week's Tech Report, a startup is very casual about its dress code and benefits. In other news, the Secretary of Interior says knocking down the Rocky Mountains could really open up the nation. And a woman is not going to let her husband of 60 years drag her into death at the same time.
This is the Onion News Network.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. Take control of the airways and tell us whatever is on your mind. Numbers 855-450-3733. With you tonight, it's Aria,
Melanie,
And nobody.
And we've been discussing Hong Kong and Nike and the Chinese government and just the general horrors of the Chinese government. It's something we talked about more on my own show, which is called A Freedom, which airs Sundays and Wednesdays at 2 o'clock p.m. on Twitch and D Live. You can find it there. Because we haven't really, that I've been aware of, we haven't really discussed the horrors of what is happening in China and the absolute danger we face as a species if we allow this to become standard for governments throughout the world. The people of China, if they were presented with an absolute need to rebel and overthrow their government, they have absolutely no mechanism for doing so. They have no mechanism for communicating with one another away from the eyes of the government. They have no way to collect arms against the government. Everything they do, everything they say is constantly being monitored, cataloged. They are cut off from the wider world. Their police are using facial recognition software to instantly ID them and to see if they're wanted, to see if they're political dissidents, to see if they're unhappy. Not to mention the 1.5 Uyghur Muslims who have been rounded up and put into concentration camps, being force-fed bacon and wine and kept from fulfilling their religious beliefs. All of this is happening right now.
Can I get into one of those camps?
Why would you want...
That's
bacon and wine. It's my
jail is not fun. Like that's
yeah, it's true. It's true. I guess I got used to it.
And these are far worse than jail. You know, these are concentration camps. They are re-education centers.
Yeah.
For the entire Uyghur population of China, the entire province is currently under that level of extensive monitoring in China. It's basically a test ground for authoritarian policies to be enacted throughout the rest of China. There's the social credit system where they keep track of everything you post on social media in China. And if it's something that's negative about the government, oh, the trains were late today, the city government needs to really step up their game, you lose social, what do they call it? What did I just call it? Social credit. And if you have too little social credit, they will keep you from getting a job, keep you from traveling. And at some point, you got to expect if you hit like -100 or something, they will just cut out the middleman and send you to a re-education camp. All of this is happening in China right now. And we see similar things being developed in a more, what I characterize as a fascist way here in the United States, where it's not the American government directly doing these things. It's the American government doing these things through companies, corporations like Facebook and Google, who do their monitoring for them, but are more than happy to turn around and hand the government whatever it wants. So to me, that's an irrelevant distinction, whether the government of China is doing it directly or the government of the United States is doing it indirectly through Google and Facebook. If the channels of communication are as open as they are, and there's no oversight, no checks, no balances to restrict what the American government can access and what they can't, this data that is being collected by Facebook and Google and Amazon about our preferences, where we live, what we're doing at any given time, what is the difference between Google knowing where I am at any given moment and the Chinese government knowing where I am at any given moment? If Google will gladly, simply by a dark court request, I can't remember, a FISA court request, give the American government all of that information at the drop of a hat. To me, there is no difference. We're seeing these systems in China being developed for use in the wider world.
Yeah, I mean, it's useful, I think, to regard the entire corporate and governmental bureaucracy as a single animal. I think of it as the military, regulatory, industrial complex. And it brings all of the bad boys, or all of the big boys are in it, because once you have $1 billion, you're going to do what the government tells you, or they're going to take it away from you.
Yeah, absolutely. And now we have Amazon devices in our homes and things like that. That we joke about being NSA wiretaps. Yeah,
I'm an engineer.
But you have a phone that reacts to OK Google.
That I do.
Same difference. It's just not Amazon.
I can leave my phone somewhere else where it can't be heard if I really want to, and I have done that.
Yeah.
Going and getting an Echo just because you're too lazy to walk over your phone and be like, Siri, what is the capital of Spain? Like, I just don't see the trade-off there. Whereas, like, having all knowledge in your pocket and a GPS.
Sure.
I understand that trade-off. Just not having to I don't understand what the trade-off of an Echo is.
I agree. There are benefits in having cellular devices. I have one as well. The GPS is a huge benefit. The text messaging, phone calls, all of that. The access to the world's information at my fingertips, definitely a plus. But they are Trojan horses. We did invite them into our homes, not fully considering the implications. And now we basically are carrying the government in our pockets around the clock.
You can screw with them though when you do that. Like, you can if you want to, you can like be really disturbing to your NSA agents. You can just.
Do you think do you think it's to that extent already?
I mean, most
For
of us.
us?
He might have his own NSA agent. I don't know. I probably don't.
I'm pretty sure
most
I've
people
got my
don't
own
have like
FBI
their
agent.
own. Oh yeah, you definitely have your own FBI agent. But.
Yeah.
Okay, most people don't have like their own.
I mean,
NSA
we shouldn't
agent,
say
whatever one's
our own
on.
because I wouldn't be surprised if they had the same guy surveilling like me and Ian or
Maybe, yeah.
You know,
Then
maybe
they just
even
have like a
all the
lower
hosts of the
workload
show.
than somebody was just like a bunch of like random people. But whatever one's on, on the clock at that moment, you can just do really disturbing things.
Right.
You can do really cryptic things that are really just gibberish and just like kind of not watch them, but like in theory, watch them try to figure it out, and it doesn't even mean anything. Like you can
Troll
just,
the
you can mess with
police.
them.
I like this idea because I overheard a conversation one night of two people discussing a steak. And it was such an odd conversation that I thought that steak was a euphemism for some kind of drug. But but they were just talking about steak.
Yeah.
Like an actual beef steak.
Or you could just like say a whole bunch of code words or flag words and then just do something really boring, like take your grocery list.
I love these ideas. Of course, all of this is assuming that, our devices are being monitored to some degree by the NSA and the FBI. And this is a legitimate threat because they don't really need any particular access to your phone in order to achieve this sort of thing. They can do it at the network level, monitoring all of your communications between your cellular provider and anyone else that they want. This is how they actually caught some mafia dude a number of years ago. They were intercepting his text messages at the cellular level before they even reached his phone. So they certainly have that capability, and that's one of the problems with centralized communication in the first place, is that the government doesn't have to squeeze you for information. They just have to squeeze AT&T or Verizon or whatever company, and those companies, more often than not, will gladly turn that information over.
Yeah, you don't have to twist their arms very hard. Just say national security.
Yeah, they will sometimes make a show of, oh, no, we can't give you that. And the government goes, okay, fine, we'll go get your stupid warrant. And they'll come back with a warrant, a FISA warrant, and they will get whatever they want.
Or they'll just bribe an employee.
Yeah, or they'll bribe an employee. I don't know how common that is, but I wouldn't put it past most employees.
I mean, that's probably in deep state territory, but I'm sure it's still happening.
Yeah,
You know,
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, that's why
CIA will stop at nothing.
That's why they have all of these contractors for the NSA and for the CIA, so that they can do things like that. And technically, it's not the government bribing an employee; it's some contractor. And if the contractor gets busted, there won't even be any free market repercussions for that. They'll just change their name like Blackwater did and continue doing exactly what they were doing before.
That's called plausible deniability, boys and girls. Can you say plausible deniability? Sure. I knew you could.
So I'm not sure what difference there already is. And we have our own, the American government has its own concentration camps at the southern border right now. Walmart's turned into concentration camps. And the ICE, the Border Patrol people, were attempting to refuse doctors access to the children and the adults that they had, kidnapped and thrown in abandoned Walmarts that they bought. I don't think they were abandoned at the time. It turned into concentration camps. And a federal court had to come in and say, no, you have to actually let doctors visit these people and make sure they're not dying of typhoid.
And these weren't these Walmarts taken on Obama's watch?
They were.
And converted?
They were.
Yeah, so this wasn't a Trump thing. This is something that's been happening.
Yeah, this is a government thing in general. My message to the people of New Mexico, Arizona, Texas is the same as it's always been. Take up arms and go liberate these people who are being imprisoned, thrown into concentration camps by the American government. If ever there was a time to, liberating people from the concentration camps would be that time. This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-3733. Let us know if you disagree. Again, that number's 855-450-FREE, as in freedom, or use the Discord call-in lines, which you can find at discord.freetalklive.com for clearer quality.
Is oral health important to you? If you don't like your own teeth, fresh breath, or kissing people, then by all means stop listening. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I became passionate about the product that she created and never want to live without it. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, but I find it does much more. They want you to love My Magic Mud as much as I do, so they're giving you a money-back guarantee plus 20% off. Go to mymagicmud.com and use coupon code FTL20 at checkout. mymagicmud.com, FTL20.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
Did you know you can legally exit the U.S. federal income tax system? Well, it's true, and thousands of American nationals are doing it. The 16th Amendment and the Internal Revenue Code are legal, but only in a limited jurisdiction. This is the basis behind the voluntary nature of the income tax. Learn the exit strategy provided by Congress. Find out more by visiting weissparis.com and watch our numerous videos. That's WEISSparis.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,409, silver at $15.24, and Bitcoin is trading around $10,812. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at InnoScale.net. In the news, in a decision that voting rights advocates warned would open the floodgates for even more extreme and undemocratic redistricting than what is already in place throughout the nation, the Supreme Court effectively condoned partisan gerrymandering on Thursday by ruling that the practice is beyond its constitutional reach. The Mind Unleashed reports the ruling was 5-4 along party lines, with conservative Chief Justice John Roberts writing the majority opinion. Slate legal journalist Mark Joseph Stern tweeted Thursday that the High Court's ruling is the, quote, nightmare scenario for voting rights advocates, end quote. Frida Levinson, legal director at ACLU of Ohio, said the Supreme Court's ruling will allow the practice of gerrymandering to continue, to flourish, and to evade review by the judicial system, and leaves redistricting in the hands of those who will continue to abuse their awesome power whenever they can to defeat the will of the voters. In a scathing dissent, liberal Justice Alina Kagan accused the High Court's 5 conservative judges of abdicating their constitutional duties, quote, just when the courts across the country, including those below, have coalesced around manageable judicial standards to resolve partisan gerrymandering claims, end quote. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. Twitter, on Thursday, announced it would suppress President Trump's tweets going into the 2020 election by downranking those which violate their rules via algorithms. Offensive material from the President of the United States will also receive a label that applies to all verified political candidates and government officials with over 100,000 followers. According to the Washington Post, before users can view the language in newly flagged tweets, they will need to click on a screen that says the Twitter rules about abusive behavior apply to this tweet. However, Twitter has determined that it may be in the public's interest for the tweet to remain available. The Mind Unleashed reports Twitter will deprioritize the labeled tweets so they would be seen by fewer people, which adds that the policy will go into effect immediately and will not apply to other influencers and leaders. It's also not retroactive. A Brazilian Air Force pilot, who was one of the crew members on their way to serve as the advance guard for Brazil President Bolsonaro during the forthcoming G20 summit in Osaka, was arrested during a stopover in Seville en route to Japan, after Spanish customs officers discovered enough cocaine on him to fuel a small Wall Street bank's party for a month, in what has become an international embarrassment for Bolsonaro, who is known as Brazil's Trump and also the country's self-professed law and order president. The Mind Unleashed reports the 38-year-old airman appeared in court Wednesday on charges of drug trafficking after Spanish officials discovered 37 packets of cocaine weighing a total of 39 kilos in baggage. Officers from Spain's Guardia Civil took the crew member into custody, and a police spokesman in Seville said the whole bag was filled with drugs. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
A new trend in offices across the country, more and more people are switching to fetal position desks so that they can curl up in a ball on the floor while they work. Aaron Vaughn has a story.
The human body isn't meant to sit at a desk for 6 or 7 hours. The natural position, especially in the workplace, is to shut down completely, return to a womb-like state, and rock back and forth to soothe yourself.
Fetal position desks, which are even popping up in offices like Google and Facebook, come in a variety of shapes and sizes. Some have adjustable height so you can cower underneath them, while more expensive options include a warm, pulsating blanket for workers to wrap themselves in to feel calm. But many people are making their own.
I've rigged this up so I can type comfortably and my arms won't get tired. Plus, it's got speakers so I can listen to a comforting voice saying shh over and over again.
I've tried a fetal position desk myself, and I can say it's a great way to get through the f***ing day.
Thanks, Aaron. I hate my job.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. Take control of the airwaves and talk about whatever is on your mind. That number is 855-450-3733. And we've been talking about the response by Nike regarding one of their people, associates, whatever, coming out in support of Hong Kong against the Chinese government, which, I'm certainly not a fan of in any regard, but Nike likes to position itself as a courageous sponsor of dissidents in the economically and racially charged world of sports. But it goes further than that. Is there not a rainbow swoosh that they've been pimping hard for the last month?
Oh, that's only it's not June anymore.
Right. That's why I said the last month.
Right.
But,
So that's over. So they don't have to like gay people anymore.
Yeah. And they probably don't, to be fair. One of the most interesting things about this particular Pride Month is watching so many of my friends call out these corporations for just blatant pandering.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I mean, that's kind of what's been demanded, and the market will deliver what's been demanded. And not all, but some LGBT activists have been engaged in things that are basically pander to us, or we don't, or we won't do business with you.
This is why I haven't watched the Democratic debates, because I did attempt to in 2016. I attempted to watch the debates between Sanders and Hillary. And 5 minutes in, I had paused the video like 19 times to post on social media about what senseless pandering the whole thing was.
Yeah, I try to shut it out, to just let it reach my level of background pandering, in which case it becomes invisible. But yeah, it can get pretty thick.
Evidently, this writer at the National Review is not a big fan of Nike, saying they gave the heroic treatment to controversial former NFL quarterback Colin Kaepernick in a series of cinematic advertisements. Irrespective of your own view of the particular merits of Kaepernick and his national anthem protest, that is the sort of thing one likes to see a big corporation such as Nike do. To say, in essence, yes, this is potentially unpopular, and we may lose a few sales over it, but we're Nike, and we're big enough and rich enough to do what we think is right. I'm not sure that was really their motivating factor. I think it was more about them weighing the risk versus the reward.
Yeah, I think it was just more pandering.
Yeah, there was just more people in China than there is in Hong Kong, and I think that was their equation.
Absolutely.
Well, that and the Hong Kong government can't prevent them from trading with China, but the Chinese government can prevent them from trading with Hong Kong.
But of course, there is significantly less to it than that. Nike, like any politician testing the winds of the moment, has polling to guide it, as Yahoo Sports reports. A poll revealed a deep racial, political, and generational division when it came to player protests. Specifically, divisions in which a majority of white NFL fans supported disciplining players for not standing for the anthem, versus a majority of the NFL's African American and Latino fans who didn't. So that's not really problematic, I don't think. White people want white sports fans, the kinds of people who, tailgate and have keggers and whatever. They want you to and have American flag napkins that they use to wipe potato salad out of their mouths. Obviously want you to stand up for the flag. Other reasonable people who happen to not be white don't want you to, because that flag represents oppression for them. I don't think that's surprising.
Well, that flag kind of represents oppression for me, too. So does that mean I'm not white?
No, it means you're not a tailgating kegger type wiping potato salad off of your lips with an American flag napkin.
Well, that's
do you
true.
Do that?
I'm not.
The sources also said that a majority of Republican NFL fans supported disciplining players versus a majority of Democrats who didn't. Again, no surprise there whatsoever, but this poll, what we're being told right here from the National Review, doesn't really tell us a lot about the actual numbers involved. If there are more Democrats than there are Republicans, then it's a financially sound business decision to support Colin Kaepernick. That's ultimately the end of it.
Well, also, which group is more likely to wear Nikes in the first place?
An excellent point. It's definitely not the 50-year-old Republican screaming at the television because the Patriots won another Super Bowl.
Yeah, Republicans have this weird misconception that they can boycott companies that they don't actually patronize.
They do indeed.
And
I
don't know why they think that, but that's not how this works.
I've seen that kind of thing come out of the left as well, but yeah, it's pretty silly. My favorite was the pro-choice women who were going to boycott sex with conservative men. It's like how
you
many
shouldn't be doing that in the first place. Oh no, they probably are, but stop it.
Moving on. Maybe Nike was being bold, or maybe Nike just did the math and calculated that supporting Kaepernick would appeal to its growing future markets, and that it was a price worth paying with shrinking older markets. Yeah, so I mean, that's pretty much what I took away from the entire Nike debacle, was that they were like, okay, well, old people are getting old and dying off, and an increasing number of young people are anti-police and would support kneeling instead of standing. I wouldn't even want to kneel. Kneel is an infinitely greater sign of respect for this stupid cloth than is standing up for it. Neither of which am I inclined to do. I would rather see Kaepernick ignore the ceremony altogether and just stay seated.
Yeah, well, the reason that he originally did stay seated, and he ended up coming up with the compromise of kneeling, talking to somebody who wrote an article about it. But yeah, I mean, doing anything other than what's expected of you could be a protest. I would prefer standing up and flipping it off, but that would have gotten me even less popular than Copernicus. I don't know what his name is. I'm sorry. It's too long for me to track. I got a short attention span.
Well, it's definitely shorter than Copernicus. But anyway, so the unfortunate and deeply stupid evolution of mob politics in our lifetime is the subject of my new book, which I'm not even going to name because I want to get back to the article. And he pretty much runs out of steam and just starts talking about his book. But the government must prohibit the expression of unpopular political ideas as a matter of public order because the mob would not tolerate the expression of unpopular political ideas. And we see this rather in the case of Kaepernick not supporting, standing up for the flag. And we see it in China with its own government not being willing to support unpopular ideas.
See, I kind of like the idea of letting the teams make their own decisions about whether they can stand or not, and then you can have the standing teams play the kneeling teams.
Well, part of the problem is that the U.S. military pays for these displays.
They definitely do.
Yes.
And most of these stadiums were built by taxpayer dollars as well. So they're, at least in part, owned by the state, not simply the military.
Definitely true, although that's at the state, not the federal level. But yeah, why is that even a thing? Why does a government get to buy advertising?
Well,
I thought
because
their
they thought
job
they
was,
wouldn't get caught.
Yeah.
It started, pre-internet, so it's like, well, nobody's going to ever decide to individually audit the NFL's books and find out that they're getting kickbacks from the military.
Yeah, and if they did, none of the networks
would
would air the footage.
Yeah.
So the state consults the mob, and the mob presses the state. It becomes a matter of shouting fire in a crowded feedback loop. The evolution of the corporation as an instrument of explicit political discipline in its role as investor and in its role as employer is troubling. I would tend to agree, having just been banned from Facebook for 30 days, a ban that was appealed and rejected, the ban being upheld twice. So I am officially done with Facebook, but Facebook acting on behalf of the mob.
Well, that's because you hate trannies.
Yeah, clearly. I hate trannies. Don't let the green sundress, the eyeshadow, the bright red hair, and the fact that I'm trans fool you. I completely hate trans people. This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-3733. Again, that's 855-450-FREE.
This is a special alert for business owners, consultants, coaches, folks planning retirement, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is saving and investing to build a financial future. You are likely aware that financial privacy for most people has recently died a miserable death. And let's face it, without privacy, there really is no security, is there? Bankrupt governments and banks on the verge of collapse are perhaps the biggest threat to your financial future today. The Lighthouse Law Club recognizes this and has been working diligently to provide safe, secure, and productive tools to ensure your privacy, your financial security, and your future financial well-being, despite the catastrophes which many people fear are looming ahead of us. Find out more with a variety of free videos on the YouTube channel for Lighthouse Law Club. Just search YouTube for Lighthouse Law Club and secure your future today.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynovite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynovite.
Everything we tried failed except the Dynovite.
Pick up 2 bottles of Super Mega Fish Oil.
Get the 3rd bottle free. Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Mega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Dogs love it. Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dinovite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Are you concerned that the values that made America great are no longer taught in schools? Well, I am, so I got my son the Tuttle Twins children's book series.
My name is Jack, and I'm 11, and I just finished the Tuttle Twins series. It taught me about liberty, free market economics, and entrepreneurship.
Give all the young people in your life a chance at reason and clear thought, because they're not going to get it at school. There are 9 books in the series, and each one teaches a set of ideas that children aren't getting elsewhere. Go to TuttleTwins.com and use coupon code FTL to get 40% off. That's TuttleTwins.com. Would you like to hang out with Penn Jillette? He's keynoting Freedom Fest this year. I, for one, am thrilled. Freedom Fest is the largest liberty-oriented gathering in the world. They take a Big Ten approach with libertarians, conservatives, liberals, anarchists, and just open-minded people mingling together to hear real debates, share real solutions, and converse freely. This year's theme is the Wild West, a time of liberty and opportunity, or a time of anarchy and violence. Maybe both. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and get your tickets now. freedomfest.com/FTL. Not convinced yet? Hey, I understand. It's a high-end event, even with coupon code FTLEB. Sure, you're likely to receive investment advice that'll make that sum seem paltry, but I have something special for you. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and you'll get the 5 best speeches from last year for free. Call it a test drive. Do yourself a favor and go to freedomfest.com/FTL. freedomfest.com/FTL. Use coupon code FTLEB for a discount.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Did you know that Free Aid is a mutual aid, educational, and networking organization? At Free Aid, we support volunteers who provide first aid. We do outreach to the public about health and safety, and we bring together medically skilled freedom lovers. Free Aid is made possible by your generous support. Donors can receive great gifts like first aid kits, t-shirts, silver dime cards, and hoodies. The Free Aid Silver Dime Card Project is sponsored in part by Roberts & Roberts Brokerage, Freedom's Phoenix, and Don't Tread on Meme. Visit fr33aid.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Talk about whatever is on your mind. 855-450-3733. With you tonight, it's Aria.
Melanie.
And nobody.
So it's not a topic that I particularly enjoy discussing, but I feel it has to be discussed, and it's a controversial one, so it should provide pretty entertaining discussion. The Straight Pride Parade coming out of Boston has been approved by the city of Boston. And coming to us from Vox.com, it's a distraction, and they're going to have LGBTQ activists and historians explain that, asking what is an event that promotes the inclusion of straights. Now, this is something I've talked about extensively in the past because I'm not a fan of the LGBTQ alphabet soup. I think it would be shorter and more accurate and more honest to simply say EBSP, everyone but straight people, because you're not allowed to be straight according to the LGBTQ movement. The straight descriptor is actually characterized as an A. You can be an ally if you're straight, which means that your sexuality is defined not by your actual sexuality, but by your relationship to the LGBTQ community. And if you're not an ally, then it follows almost by default, because of the dichotomy that they set up, that you are homophobic. So straight people are not allowed to be straight. They can be allies. And if they're not allies, they become homophobic.
I've never understood that to be a dictate of to what my sexuality should be.
Huh.
Like, I just...
Well, basically, everybody but straight people is included.
And straight people are only included if their relationship to the LGBTQ community qualifies as being an ally.
Well, right. So if you're not part of a community, if I'm not part of that community and I'm not helping in them in some way, I don't see why I should be included.
Well, you're not necessarily wrong. And I would agree in a lot of ways. You're not part of the LGBTQ community, certainly. Well, I'm assuming you're not.
I'm not.
Yeah. But the issue is a bit larger than just your... I mean, it's not really accurate to say you're doing nothing for the LGBTQ community. I think, strictly speaking, you would qualify as an ally. I don't think you necessarily have to be out there marching in pride parades or doing anything LGBTQ oriented to qualify as an ally.
Right, so whether I personally am or aren't, whether or not a person is... See, English used to have words for these and we abandoned them all. Whether or not a person is an ally would be relevant to whether or not they would get included in the community or recognize the community. So even if you're not an enemy and you're just like over there doing your own thing, I don't like, regardless of what community it is. If it's chess club, if you're not a member and you're not like someone who like supports them, I don't know why they would include or recognize you.
Okay, let me phrase it like this then. Essentially what you have are members and non-members of this community, right?
Right.
As you were saying. The problem with that is that non-members become included in that community if they are tolerant of that community's existence. Whether they're active members or not, they become a sort of passive member. And that's what the A is, the ally. And if they're not passive members, if they're not allies, by this dichotomy they've set up, they become necessarily enemies.
They pretty much define ally as not wanting to kill us.
Well, I think that I've yet to get a consistent definition on that, but yeah, I mean, I always was told the A stood for asexual, but
there are several A's. It's actually LGBTQIAAP+.
Okay.
With the P standing for poly, everyone out there who immediately assumes something else.
I don't know, like
And one of the A's does indeed stand for asexual. The other stands for ally.
Okay.
So poly
that
is
in and of
included?
itself.
Poly is included.
Oh, wow. Now, is it only included when you use the long acronym? Do you have to spell it all out to tie poly in, or is it included by...
Well, a lot of people simply use LGBTQ+, and it includes allies, asexuals, and poly people. But, I mean, technically, the acronym as it stands right now is, last I checked, LGBTQIAAP+.
Yeah, having allies in there seems just really silly to me. Like, I'm not going to tell them how to write their acronym, but that seems really silly.
I would agree.
And the difference is, and the problem is, the word is, or the monstrosity of letters, whatever it is used in two different contexts. It's used in a context of a political movement, in which case the view that Melanie is taking makes sense, and it's also used in the context of a community, in which case it makes sense to be inclusive also of monogamous straight white people who just happen to want to hang out.
See, what we're running into here is just the issue of division in general. If everyone, well, not everyone, but if a large segment of the population breaks off and forms this own group, then they are, by definition, forming two groups. People who are members of the group they formed and people who are not.
What if we call
And what we've seen in the LGBTQ movement and on the left and their various intersectionalist groups in general is that they began antagonizing the people who were not members of their various groups, specifically the cis, straight, white male. Just being honest.
I hate those guys.
They get blamed for everything. And it's an end result. It's an obvious result of taking everyone who isn't a straight cis white male and intersectionalizing all of these various groups until they're all one largely homogenous blob attacking this one group that, prior to being created into its own group by this dichotomy, had no sense of identity. And this is why we're seeing people like Chris Cantwell and the alt-right start to rise up, because the left, the intersectionalists who formed all of these groups, by definition, they put all of those straight cis white people into a group and called them evil. And so those straight cis white men looked around and said, okay, well, we're being attacked here, so we should probably actually band together to defend ourselves against these attacks. This is not to say they've stopped.
Well, there was a pre-existing core of hardcore haters also that they formed around. So
that's certainly
not
true.
all of these guys are victims of media propaganda. Some of them are bad to the bone.
Absolutely. Some of them are just bad people. Some of them were already racists, right?
Yeah.
So fitting into the alt-right just became natural for them. But I think this is why we've seen the alt-right grow in the past several years, is because of that antagonism.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I certainly react badly to the feminist movement and its characterization of men as
all rapists, right?
Yeah, basically teach men not to rape. Well, men know not to rape unless they happen to be rapists. So it would make sense to say teach rapists not to rape, except that kind of shows the absurdity of the thing in the first place. So how about instead we replace it with shoot rapists in the face?
I don't know if I can agree or disagree with that statement. We'll have to get more into that when we get back here in a moment. Tell us what's on your thing. Do you think rapists should be shot in the face? 855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE. Or join us on Discord at discord.freetalklive.com and use the call-in lines there for much clearer quality.
Don't you hate that feeling in the pit of your stomach when the police pull you over? Most people have no idea how to handle it properly, and they promptly get fed into the municipal fee-generating meat grinder. Or maybe you recall that feeling you get when you go to the mailbox and see one or more letters from the IRS. You get a sense of impending doom, don't you? So let me ask you, if you could learn how to use the law to beat the IRS, traffic tickets, almost any courtroom scenario, collectors, credit card debt, and even mortgage debt because of fraud perpetrated against you, would that be worth knowing about? Don't laugh. Investigate. Check out the life-changing benefits of the Lighthouse Law Club at their website, lighthouselaw.club. That's lighthouselaw.club. And while you're at it, visit the Lighthouse Law Club YouTube channel. You might be in for a pleasant surprise.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our account, find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
A congressman recently revealed that legislation totaling 2,900 pages and involving more than $1 trillion was available to members of Congress for less than 48 hours to study and consider. That's over 60 pages of legislation per hour. Do you think anyone read the entire bill? I'm Jim Babka with DownsizeDC.org. Consider a proposal buried in a 3,200-page, $388 billion bill, which would have empowered committee chairmen or their agents to examine Americans' tax returns. When this horrible provision came to light, no one claimed to know how it got into the bill. One congressman questioned said, "I didn't write it, I didn't approve it, I wasn't even consulted." If your attorney represented you this way, he might be disbarred. But this is how Congress represents you every day. That's why DownsizeDC.org has created the Read the Bills Act. You can force Congress to read their bills before they pass them at DownsizeDC.org.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-3733. Again, that's 855-450-FREE, as in Free Talk Live. And with you tonight, it's Aria.
And Melanie, and I don't know where Rich Paul is.
God only knows. So we've been talking about straight pride and various implications of straight pride. Someone pointed out on Discord that, all of this is extremely problematic because we're dealing with collectivism and groupthink. And they're not wrong. But to be fair, I'm not sticking up for the straight cis white male. I don't mean to suggest that I am. I don't think that any particular group is more oppressed than any other particular group. I think that that's the wrong way to view things. I think that some individuals may be more oppressed than other individuals. And I think it's a red herring, a divisive red herring, for people to say, no, I'm more oppressed than you, and it's because of this particular characteristic. Or that particular characteristic.
Well, to me, degree of oppression, the state has taken from everyone that it calls citizen.
Certainly.
Liberty that is beyond value, infinite in value. So really, and the nature of infinity is once you're there, anything you add to it is infinitesimal.
Well, no, because infinity is a limit, not a number.
Hold on. I'm going to need time to process that statement.
The point is, and that is the point. Once you're at an infinity, what's infinity plus x? Infinity.
Well, no, because that infinity is not a number, though.
No, it's not a number. It's a concept.
So anyway, I'm not a fan of collectivization. I do want to be clear on that. I'm an individualist, you know. You might have some man who is black or some woman who is black who has experienced more oppression than some white person, some white male, or some white female. But I'm not sure to what extent you can actually say, oh, well, it's because this person is black that they experienced this oppression, or this person is a woman and that's why they experienced this oppression. To me, that's
sometimes
sort of
you
pointless.
Can, because sometimes they'll tell you. So it is the case that in some cases you can say, okay, the police did X, Y, Z to you, and they did it for this characteristic. That doesn't mean that every time something happens to anybody, that's why. But
but that individual,
a lot of them don't actually hide it.
That individual will be able to prove that they were oppressed because of that particular characteristic, and that's going to be relatively uncommon.
Yeah,
I would suggest.
And I will say, in growing up in Detroit, I heard "Get the White Boy" more than once.
Walter Reed told me, or told the assistant DA in front of me that he was giving a guy more time because he was black. So
I'm not surprised.
I'm surprised he would say it in front of...
He thought I was a defendant when he said it.
Oh.
He didn't know I was there as a law student.
Oh, wow.
So how did this play out? Did you, like, hold his feet to the flames?
Nobody cared.
Wow. I'm not surprised. I'm really not. But, you know,
I'm kind of flabbergasted.
As Rich was saying, as a white person from Detroit, he heard, you know, get the white boy more times than he can count. Him, being a white person, was oppressed by the circumstances he was in, certainly.
Well, I'll tell you, the one time it happened, though, I was out on the front of the undergraduate library in Ann Arbor, and I'm smoking weed with these two guys who happen to be black. And another black guy who I had a beef with comes up, and he's like to the other two black guys, hey, let's get the white boy. And I'm just sitting there chilling with them all day, and they got up and ran him out of the park. I thought it was hilarious.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying that it only works in one direction. I'm just saying that sometimes that's the motivation.
Well, certainly,
and sometimes it's not.
Certainly, historically, it's been a lot better to be white than to be black in the United States in most cases.
Well, I mean that's true about straight and non-straight people as well, but it's not true today. Today, being LGBT in the United States puts you in an elevated position above everyone who is not.
I think that depends on your neighborhood, just like your white privilege.
Well, certainly it wasn't pleasant for me to live in Mississippi.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that must have been hell on earth. You don't feel that way in New Hampshire.
But in the wider scheme of things, maybe not in Mississippi, but in the United States, yes, I was treated specially. Privileged is the word I would use because I'm trans.
Yeah. And that's true of all these of all these things. It all depends on where you are. You know,
Certainly.
And who else is there and how they actually feel about people of your various demographics and about you as a person, you know, because I have some friends that in general don't like white people very much, but they like me. So I'm down with that. You know, if Malcolm X came up to me and said, I hate white people, I'd say, well, you know, in general, I'm categorically opposed to that sort of statement, but you got your reasons and I ain't judging you.
Well, he had his reasons. He changed his positions substantially after making his pilgrimage to Mecca.
Yeah, it would have. I mean, if I can reincarnate the guy, though, for my hypothetical, I'm allowed to reincarnate him at any stage in his career.
Okay, sure, fair
point. That seems unfair to him. Like, oh, you approved? We're wiping that for my entertainment.
Well, okay, I probably would have added that as a disclaimer later because, you know, that's one of the things that I respect about him is he went from the kill whitey position to the, hey, we're all human position. And that's what I really think. I mean, I was thinking as you were talking about all the letters, why not call it the sexual liberty movement?
Well, they sort of do. Libertarians particularly prefer GSM as the lettering for people who aren't straight.
That sounds kinky.
It stands for gender and sexual minorities.
Oh, interesting. So that would include all of the above. And it pretty much has the same semantics that you were saying, everybody but straight white, everybody but vanilla, basically.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of GSM either. I'm not a fan of any of it. I think GSM is an improvement over the alphabet soup simply because it's shorter.
See, I think sexual liberty movement is an improvement because it then becomes not a minority movement. It's not identity politics. It's saying, I want freedom in this particular part of my life. And it also frees it from a lot of the let's enforce political correctness baggage. That doesn't fit as well when you're not not identitarian in nature.
The identitarian thing confuses me. I know it exists, but I just don't get it because I'm an individualist, right? I ran for sheriff here in Cheshire County without ever mentioning the fact that I'm trans. But I know other trans people who have run for public office who wear it as a, they might as well just glue a sign to their head saying, I'm trans.
Mm-hmm.
To me, playing your identity for whatever reason isn't really going to be conducive to long-term health and growth of any sort of society. So, okay, you're trans, big deal. Why should you have this authority that you're asking for?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think most people running for office are looking at the long-term health of the society, though. So
that's true. But if anybody was going to be, I would hope it would be the libertarians.
Well, the thing that you get to say by just being trans is, I'm going to be accepting of sexual minorities.
But you don't have to say that. It becomes kind of obvious that if you're trans, you're going to be accepting of sexual and gender minorities, right?
Right.
Like, no one doubted when I ran for sheriff, oh no, Aria is going to become sheriff and lock up all the LGBT people, right? It just sort of assumed, rightly, that that's not the sort of thing one would do.
I mean, a few of them, maybe.
855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE, as in Free Talk Live. Give us a call. Let us know what you think.
Jake was in big trouble with the IRS. He owed how much?
$92,000.
Ouch. And the IRS left no room for Jake to breathe.
They put a lien on my house, took all the money out of my bank account, took money out of my paychecks. So it was a nightmare.
He needed help fast.
I figured that all these companies were the same until I called Federal Tax Management. You could just tell they knew what they were talking about. Right then and there, I felt like I had some hope.
Stop the liens, levies, and garnishments fast and qualify for one of several special IRS programs that could reduce or even eliminate your tax debt. So, how'd it go for Jake?
They did what they said they would do. They came through for me. I ended up saving an unbelievable amount. I was so jazzed. I was extremely happy.
If you owe more than $10,000 in back taxes, take Jake's advice.
Give Federal Tax Management a phone call. If they help me, they can help anybody.
Call the Federal Tax Management Hotline now. 800-503-8625. 800-503-8625. 800-503-8625.
Have you checked your Google search results lately? Search results are usually the first impression that people form of you or your business. So make sure that they create a positive impression with Reputation Defender. What the internet says about you can have a big impact on your life and your livelihood, even if it's not true. Fortunately, you can now control how you look online and in online search results with Reputation Defender. Call 800-831-0771 now. That's 800-831-0771. For your free reputation analysis. If you have negative material from an ex-employee, upset patient, or former client, newspaper article, legal issue, social media, or other source showing up in your search results, you can combat it with Reputation Defender. Our dedicated experts in patented technology can help make your online search results look their best. Call 800-831-0771 to learn more. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771.
Don't you hate that feeling in the pit of your stomach when the police pull you over? Most people have no idea how to handle it properly, and they promptly get fed into the municipal fee-generating meat grinder. Or maybe you recall that feeling you get when you go to the mailbox and see one or more letters from the IRS. You get a sense of impending doom, don't you? So let me ask you, if you could learn how to use the law to beat the IRS, traffic tickets, almost any courtroom scenario, collectors, credit card debt, and even mortgage debt because of fraud perpetrated against you, would that be worth knowing about? Don't laugh. Investigate. Check out the life-changing benefits of the Lighthouse Law Club at their website, lighthouselaw.club. That's lighthouselaw.club. And while you're at it, visit the Lighthouse Law Club YouTube channel. You might be in for a pleasant surprise.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Is oral health important to you? If you don't like your own teeth, fresh breath, or kissing people, then by all means stop listening. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I became passionate about the product that she created and never want to live without it. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, but I find it does much more. They want you to love My Magic Mud as much as I do, so they're giving you a money-back guarantee plus 20% off. Go to mymagicmud.com and use coupon code FTL20 at checkout. mymagicmud.com, FTL20.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Tell us whatever's on your mind. That number's 855-450-3733. Again, that's 855-450-3733. And with you tonight, it's Aria,
Melanie,
and nobody.
And Bitcoin.com has finally launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com that allows you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for this and to use the site. Plus, all communications are encrypted between buyers and sellers. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. Again, that's local.bitcoin.com. I absolutely love it. They very quickly showed that. Can you hand me that? What just printed? They very quickly showed localbitcoins.com how it should be done, and I am absolutely in love with what they've done over there. It's absolutely great. Go check it out. Again, that's local.bitcoin.com. Let's go to the phones. However, we've got Elise calling in from Maine. Elise, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, what's on your mind?
On my mind is that I disagree with most topics that are brought up on the show. I'm a liberal progressive.
Okay.
And I just wanted to get your viewpoint on that because I was particularly interested in why you guys trust your fellow man so much rather than the government.
Is government not made up of our fellow man?
Well, it's more so officiated. It's a conglomerate of officiated policies and laws and proven practices where...
But the people who enact these laws and these practices, are they not your fellow man?
They are, but it's kind of through a filtering process.
See, Shepherd Book says that government is merely a body of men, usually notably ungoverned. And given that the body of men that you revere, government, is guilty of war crimes, racial oppression, sexual oppression, religious oppression, oppression of psychonauts, oppression of national minorities. I mean, who have these people not oppressed? So what makes them better than your average man? It seems to me that if you look into the history of the CIA, you will find some of the darkest depths of depravity that man has ever plumbed.
But that's almost cherry picking because I think for every negative, there's probably at least two positives.
Are you aware of how many people the government killed in the 20th century?
Yeah, but also how many people have the government saved?
Probably not the 400 million people that were killed by governments in the 20th century.
And is that just a democide number that doesn't include war, right?
Yeah, that's just
that
democide.
Number includes war.
Okay.
Oh, it does include war.
Yes.
Okay, what's
it's
the
about
democide
250
number?
million from war and about 150 million people murdered by their own governments.
Yeah. You see,
I think it's much easier to bring up.
Hold on, Rich. Go ahead, Elise.
Yeah, I think it's much easier to bring up how many people governments have killed just because basically it's more sensational.
Well, it's also true.
It's accurate.
And demonstrable.
I mean, there's plenty of people who haven't committed genocide. Like most people
never
don't.
really
The people who do are in government.
But you never really hear about how many people the government have actually saved. Because I think the government is saving many people's lives with.
On what do you base this?
And they need to. Well, they need to save more with national health care.
Oh,
with
good
welfare.
God.
She did say she was a liberal progressive.
It's true. I knew it was coming. It still hurt.
The government has broken the healthcare industry almost irreparably by intervening in it in the first place. And we're about to see the same thing happen with college tuition. Actually, we have seen the same thing happen with college tuition. That's why they've increased so disproportionately to people's wealth.
And now the college tuition bubble is breaking.
Right. And we'll see the same thing in regard to healthcare in the next decade or so.
So I guess the short answer to your question is, why do I trust the people more than I trust the government, is because none of the people that I know are mass murderers except for people in government.
I mean, I don't trust people at all. That's why I don't want to give them militaries and power over the education system and the health system and every other system.
Yeah, if you put all of your power eggs in one basket, somebody's going to get a hold of that basket and do something you're really not going to like.
Yeah, that's how we ended up with Donald Trump.
I think that's more of a fear-mongering tactic that a lot of libertarians and conservatives use. It's kind of like a common phrase because with the checks and balances, it's not really possible. There's not like some...
So we don't actually have wars, and we don't actually have a police state, and we don't actually have a regulatory system?
Oh, of course we do. But there's not some...
Okay, then it's not fear-mongering, then it's accurate.
Yeah, it's pointing out history, not to mention pointing out what's going on right here, right now, where cops are shooting down black people in the street, and the prosecutors don't even indict them. They don't even indictment. You can't get an indictment against a pig. I talked to a lawyer. I said they should slice him thin and put him on bread because they say they can indict a ham sandwich. I mean, these are the people you want to put all of your faith in?
Well, I'd rather put my faith in the government rather than just some random person on the street.
Why put your faith in anyone, though? Why not take control of your life and tell random people, whether they're strangers, why not just tell strangers that they don't know you and they have no authority to tell you what you can and cannot do?
Well, because I think the government has our best interest in mind.
Why in the world do you think that?
Then they're really, really incompetent.
I mean, when the government put me in jail for 1.5 years for selling cannabis. Okay, well, people are dying of heroin addiction, and in states where cannabis is legal, heroin deaths drop by 25%. So if government cared about what was good for us, cannabis would be legal. No question about us. They don't. They work for big pharma. They work for the corporations. The government is just a 00 corporation with a license to kill.
In what way, though?
In any way they want to. They'll torture
yeah.
you to death if they get the urge.
Do you not agree that cops are out there shooting and murdering people?
I would say that's on a case-by-case basis.
Well, yeah, they murder them 1 by 1 and 2 by 2, but they murder them.
There were about 2,000 people killed by police last year. Right.
But again, I mean...
Do you think Black Lives Matter is wrong? Because I think they're right.
I think all lives matter. I think that's a pretty diverse
Okay,
mindset.
The state disagrees that your life doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If you have a gun and they tell you to put it down and they give you a half of a second to comply with that command, even though what you're holding is a cell phone, the state doesn't think your life matters. You're ultimately a number. You're a little source of revenue for them to tax and squeeze and collect until you die, at which point they will move on to your kids.
Take a look at what happened to the Occupy Wall Street protests a few years ago, if you think your lives matter to the government, because I think they showed differently.
Well, I think all lives matter generally, but there are historically some groups that need to be advocated for more because they've historically been oppressed.
Because by the state, though, right? By the government?
I think by many different groups.
Okay, but who actually does the oppressing of these minorities? Who puts the police officers out there on the streets to harass and oppress minorities?
Who's running the war on drugs?
Yeah, but that statement would be under the assumption that that's what the police are doing.
Well, they are doing that.
The police...
Elise, thank you so much for the call. Obviously, we disagree with the flaw in your logic. I mean, you recognize that the police are out there doing bad things, but you seem to sort of dance around the problem with that the police are doing exactly what they've been told to do by the government.
The contradiction of your position is that you would give ultimate power to the exact people doing the oppressing. Wake up.
Rich nailed it. 855-450-3733. Again, that's 855-450-FREE, as in freedom, or use the Discord call-in lines, which you can find at discord.freetalklive.com if you want clearer quality. Sound like you're almost sitting in the studio with us.
I'm a little obsessed with My Magic Mud. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, the founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I didn't even know my teeth were coffee stained. A week's worth of use convinced me, and now I use it every 3 or 4 days. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, and I think it cleans better, too. My Magic Mud's available at most local health food stores, Sprouts, Natural Grocers, CVS, Walmart's Natural Beauty Aisle, but I can get it for you for 20% off with coupon code FTL20 at mymagicmud.com. FTL20 mymagicmud.com.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
There are basically 2 types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,409, silver at $15.24, and Bitcoin is trading around $10,812. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at InnoScale.net. In the news, in a decision that voting rights advocates warned would open the floodgates for even more extreme and undemocratic redistricting than what is already in place throughout the nation, the Supreme Court effectively condoned partisan gerrymandering on Thursday by ruling that the practice is beyond its constitutional reach. The Mind Unleashed reports the ruling was 5-4 along party lines, with conservative Chief Justice John Roberts writing the majority opinion. Slate legal journalist Mark Joseph Stern tweeted Thursday that the High Court's ruling is the, quote, nightmare scenario for voting rights advocates, end quote. Frida Levinson, legal director at ACLU of Ohio, said the Supreme Court's ruling will allow the practice of gerrymandering to continue, to flourish, and to evade review by the judicial system, and leaves redistricting in the hands of those who will continue to abuse their awesome power whenever they can to defeat the will of the voters. In a scathing dissent, liberal Justice Alina Kagan accused the High Court's 5 conservative judges of abdicating their constitutional duties, quote, just when the courts across the country, including those below, have coalesced around manageable judicial standards to resolve partisan gerrymandering claims, end quote. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. Twitter, on Thursday, announced it would suppress President Trump's tweets going into the 2020 election by downranking those which violate their rules via algorithms. Offensive material from the President of the United States will also receive a label that applies to all verified political candidates and government officials with over 100,000 followers. According to the Washington Post, before users can view the language in newly flagged tweets, they will need to click on a screen that says the Twitter rules about abusive behavior apply to this tweet. However, Twitter has determined that it may be in the public's interest for the tweet to remain available. The Mind Unleashed reports Twitter will deprioritize the labeled tweets so they would be seen by fewer people, which adds that the policy will go into effect immediately and will not apply to other influencers and leaders. It's also not retroactive. A Brazilian Air Force pilot, who was one of the crew members on their way to serve as the advance guard for Brazil President Bolsonaro during the forthcoming G20 summit in Osaka, was arrested during a stopover in Seville en route to Japan, after Spanish customs officers discovered enough cocaine on him to fuel a small Wall Street bank's party for a month, in what has become an international embarrassment for Bolsonaro, who is known as Brazil's Trump and also the country's self-professed law and order president. The Mind Unleashed reports the 38-year-old airman appeared in court Wednesday on charges of drug trafficking after Spanish officials discovered 37 packets of cocaine weighing a total of 39 kilos in baggage. Officers from Spain's Guardia Civil took the crew member into custody, and a police spokesman in Seville said the whole bag was filled with drugs. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
According to a groundbreaking study on anxiety disorders published this week in the New England Journal of Medicine, researchers have discovered that feelings of anxiety can be completely resolved as long as people think about them real hard.
After studying subjects with mild to chronic anxiety disorders, we found that the best way to overcome mental stress is to isolate the root of the anxiety, analyze it from every possible angle, and then think about it nonstop until it completely disappears.
Researchers worked with numerous subjects in the middle of high-stress scenarios and said the key to overcoming anxiety is to start by focusing on a minor problem, list everything that can go wrong in the worst-case scenario, and then repeat that list in your head 200 times. After anywhere between 3 to 6 hours of perpetually torturing yourself over things outside of your control, all feelings of anxiety will completely disappear, and you can finally enjoy the remainder of your day.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. talk radio that you control. Take control of the airwaves. That number's 855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE, as in Free Talk Live. And with you tonight, it's Aria.
Melanie.
And nobody.
And it's time to get into something even more controversial than straight pride and just the general insanity of state oppression. Well, we're sticking with the subject of state oppression. So there was this woman in Alabama who was shot, and her fetus died, and she's being charged with manslaughter, I believe.
Yep.
Yes,
Yeah,
being charged with manslaughter, and she's demanding that the charges be dropped. She was 5 months pregnant when she was shot in the stomach during an argument over the fetus's father. Now, if this isn't, this is beyond victim blaming, I would think. This woman was shot, and the response by the government, the beloved government of Elise and all of the other progressive liberals, is to charge her with manslaughter.
Well, it's a fascinating story, and here's the other side of it. She was shot in righteous self-defense while assaulting somebody.
I'm not saying she was right or wrong. I'm not, that to me isn't the discussion or the issue here. The fact is that she was shot. The other person presumably escalated the violence. Was she shooting at the other person?
She apparently assaulted the other person. The other person shot her, but the police chose not to press charges on the other person. At first, the other person was charged with the murder, actually, and then those charges were dropped, and they were rebrought against her for manslaughter when the determination was made that the shooting was in righteous self-defense, even though. So this can happen very commonly. Let's say that you go in and you commit a felonious assault, and some random third person gets shot by your intended victim while he's trying to defend himself for you. You're on the hook for that felony murder. Now, in this case, it's interesting because although I'm pro-choice, that's a weird one.
I mean, it is also Alabama, which has the heartbeat law now.
Right, which is probably, even though she wasn't charged under that law, that may well be why she's being charged. It's a very weird case.
It kind of is why, because the way the common law system works is if you want to change a law, what you have to do is come up with the most absurd scenario possible, make it happen, and appeal it up. You can't just, write the court for an opinion. You can't change a statute. That's kind of what's demanded of or by the Supreme Court, so that you're going to see a lot of this until they come down with a decision one way or the other.
So this case may be one of the prime contenders to land before the Supreme Court.
They're probably going to hear more than one case. That's pretty typical, but they're going to try. Whether or not they get in is a separate matter.
Well, evidently she was indicted by a grand jury, which reasoned that she should be held criminally liable for allegedly starting the fight that led to the gunfire. I would agree that she's guilty of assault and battery, clearly, but she should not be charged for the manslaughter of the fetus because she was not the one who pulled the trigger. Actually, that to me is sort of an irrelevant point. I don't think she should be charged with manslaughter because a fetus isn't a person.
So I don't have a problem with felony murder laws, or with the concept of felony murder, I should say, because I have a problem with laws. In concept, I tend to have a problem with the way that they get enforced, which is why I don't like the state, because that's how they have a good concept and then just do awful things to it.
Right.
So
that's what the state does.
I understand the concept of if you go into a convenience store and shoot and pull a gun on the clerk, and the clerk aims at you and hits the guy behind you. I think it's fair to say that you committed murder if he dies in that circumstance. I don't think that's
I'm not sure I agree.
Because you're creating a dangerous situation.
But the clerk is escalating that dangerous situation, and then
not if you already pulled a gun on him,
and then inadvertently wounding an innocent bystander.
But the
same
point
reasoning
is, if you hadn't committed a criminal act, if you had not initiated...
This same reason justifies the state murder of peaceful people. I mean, like the guy who robbed the Sprint store or whatever, the NYPD showed up with their guns, and they shot, like, I think it was 7 innocent people.
Oh, wow.
I mean, what you're essentially arguing is that the cops were not liable for those deaths, and that the person who robbed the store was.
Well, there's a thing called joint and several liability. More than one person can be liable. For example, say you call in a SWAT raid on somebody and they get themselves killed. You've got some responsibility for that, and the police also have responsibility for that.
But in the case of this pregnant woman, and in the case of the person arming the convenience store, you're saying the convenience store clerk and the guy who pulled the trigger here don't have any responsibility for it.
Not necessarily.
No.
So I don't think that it should defend.
Why not? That's an inconsistency.
No, it's not, because I don't think that it should defend people committing, quote, defense by just like randomly opening fire. But I think that there should be some recognition that if you start a battle, stuff happens in battle. And it's not always just, sometimes it's just stuff happened. It's just not always just he was just like wildly
So the guy who robbed
the
the Sprint store started a battle. The police showed up and responded to that battle, and 7 innocent people, bystanders, were shot. So it's the guy who started the battle's fault.
And I would say that both the police and the Sprint robbers should be liable for the deaths of those 7 innocents.
But you don't.
Then why shouldn't the guy who
people?
pulled the trigger here, who accidentally shot the fetus, similarly be responsible for accidentally shooting an innocent bystander?
Well, it depends on if he was committing self-defense or not. Because the
innocent bystander was in. You can't shoot somebody without some risk to the fetus. And if the mother doesn't want to be shot, she needs to put people out. She needs to not, commit felonies against people with guns.
So if the Sprint store robber hadn't wanted people to get shot, he shouldn't have robbed the Sprint store.
Right, but there's a difference between aiming at a particular individual and then your bullet goes 6 inches over and opening fire into a general area.
Well, the cops presumably were aiming at the specific individual. They were just bad shots.
You shoot 7 people by opening fire into a general area. If you know you're that bad of a shot that you're going to shoot 7 other people,
I mean, a 7.
Then you have to fire in your gun.
Let's say one other person then, because I'm not sure the number 7 is accurate in the first place. But let's say one innocent person was shot by police because this person robbed a Sprint store. By your reasoning, the guy who robbed the Sprint store is responsible for the police shooting this person.
Not solely responsible, but he bears some responsibility, yes.
Okay, but the police would have the rest of the responsibility, right?
Of course.
Okay, so why doesn't that exact same logic apply to this dude who inadvertently shot a fetus while attempting to shoot this woman?
Well, it wasn't a dude, it was a woman, but though that doesn't come into the analysis. The reason is because he actually hit his target. She just happened to be carrying a human shield with her.
That he didn't hit his target then. He hit 2 targets.
Well, so that's not necessarily
well,
true.
You're
did he
not
shoot
responsible
the fetus, or did he
for
shoot
checking
her
people's
and
medical
she died?
condition before you shoot them.
What did you say, Melanie?
So that's not even necessarily accurate, because did he shoot the fetus or did he shoot her and then the fetus died due to that?
That seems to be the... Okay, sure. We're assuming that he did not... We're assuming that he did put the bullet also through the fetus, and we don't know that. That's a fact that we don't have an answer to. So that's unfortunate. But what if the bullet went through someone as they were robbing a convenience store and hit the 6-year-old child behind that person and killed the 6-year-old child? Who's responsible in that particular event?
If it's still active battle, then the person who started the battle.
But it's totally different when it's cops. That's what the two of you are saying.
It depends on if the conduct is
reckless.
reckless.
This is a special alert for business owners, consultants, coaches, folks planning retirement, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is saving and investing to build a financial future. You are likely aware that financial privacy for most people has recently died a miserable death. And let's face it, without privacy, there really is no security, is there? Bankrupt governments and banks on the verge of collapse are perhaps the biggest threat to your financial future today. The Lighthouse Law Club recognizes this and has been working diligently to provide safe, secure, and productive tools to ensure your privacy, your financial security, and your future financial well-being, despite the catastrophes which many people fear are looming ahead of us. Find out more with a variety of free videos on the YouTube channel for Lighthouse Law Club. Just search YouTube for Lighthouse Law Club and secure your future today.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com. I want to tell you about my favorite cryptocurrency wallet, Edge Wallet, at edge.app. Edge is the wallet I use more than any other, and that was true long before Edge Wallet became a sponsor of Free Talk Live. Edge Wallet allows you to buy, sell, trade, and securely hold your cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, tokens, Monero, Ripple, Dash, Bitcoin Cash, and more. It's available for both Android and iOS, and you can download it via the Play or App Store or via Edge Wallet's website, edge.app. Secure your freedom with Edge Wallet. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveatpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveatpurse.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. That number is 855-450-3733. Again, that's 855-450-FREE, as in Free Talk Live. With you tonight, it's Aria,
Melanie,
and nobody.
And I want to tell you about My Magic Mud. It's a black tooth powder made of charcoalized coconut shells and bentonite clay, stuff that doesn't sound like it would be good for your teeth, but evidently has been clinically proven to whiten teeth. It's available at most health food stores like Sprouts, CVS, Natural Grocers, and Walmart's Natural Beauty Owl. Mark found out about My Magic Mud from Jessica Armand, the creator, at a Porcupine Freedom Festival several years ago when she was there promoting what was then a very new product. He used it the way she described, once per day for 4 to 6 days, and then once every 3 or 4 days after that. And he says that it totally whitened his teeth, and more importantly, it makes his teeth feel cleaner. He likes it enough that he hasn't been without it since. And that's a really strong endorsement. Get it now at mymagicmud.com using the coupon code FTL20 to get 20% off. Despite it being available at all of these places, you might as well go order it online and use that coupon code to get that 20% off. I would definitely recommend it. Well, I can't say that, but Mark would definitely recommend it, and he knows what he's talking about. Let's go to the phones. However, we've got Matthew calling from Louisiana. Matthew, you are on Free Talk Live.
Hello. And so I got a chance to last week ask a candidate for governor for state of Louisiana 2 questions.
Okay.
Would they support constitutional carry? And would they support legalizing marijuana? And it was yes on both of them. So
awesome.
That was very strong.
What party were these guys running for?
This guy is independent. He was a former Democrat. His name is Landrew.
Huh.
It's Gary Landrew from the other branch of the Landrew family.
Interesting.
Interesting. But there is a question I have to ask one of you, and I don't know your name, sir. You had said that a fetus is not a human, and I've heard this before, but at what point do you consider a embryo / fetus in the womb to become a human?
Well, that's a difficult question.
Ask each of us, you'll get 3 different answers.
I was the one who made the statement. I'm Aria DeMezzo, by the way. I'm a trans chick.
Hi, Aria.
I'm not bothered by the sir thing, just making it known because our listeners are not going to know that by the sound of my voice. But, scientists have yet to put forward a definition of life that explicitly excludes everything that we don't recognize as life. And I don't want to drag you into some sort of senseless hypothetical argument here, but the fact of the matter is that we don't know what is going on in our reality. We don't know anything. We've mentally formed these distinctions between life and non-life, and we've sort of rolled with that. And in the same sense, we've formed this distinction between human and non-human, even though when you start looking at chromosomes and things like that between humans and non-humans, like bonobos or chimps or something else that's extremely closely related, it becomes extremely difficult to actually find a dividing line between what is human and what is not human.
Well, I can take a wild guess as to what is human and what is not, and I'm going to use this as my definition.
Okay.
If the spermatozoa of species A cannot, in fact, mate with the ovum of species B, and I think it's ovum. I don't think we actually call it egg if we're using science talk,
right.
But we can call it egg.
Sure.
And it does not, in fact, cause, the great creation of a blastocyte. We're not talking about a human and a meeting of 2 humans.
I don't disagree that some individuals can mate with other individuals, and that the definition of species generally is divided along those which can mate with one another and those which cannot. So that would be a fair point, that a human being is that organism that can mate with what we consider to be other human beings.
There we go. That works for me.
I neither agree with that nor disagree with that. I'm not sure whether or not human Homo sapien can mate with bonobos or with chimps.
I can rest assure you, while they can engage in something that is to be classified as sex, it is in fact not mating in the sense of they will produce an offspring by that action.
Right. Well, it's the offspring thing here that is key.
They used to say the same thing about lions and tigers, and now they've managed to mix the two. I don't know how they did that.
A little bit of tinkering.
Is it not also the case that Homo sapien is in fact an offshoot by interbreeding of various early humanoids?
I believe we are basically the result of interbreeding with the Neanderthals. I believe it's the Cro-Magnon and the Neanderthals.
That's what I would have said, but I'm not 100% certain.
I don't think we're the result of that. I think we have some.
We subliminated the.
Yes, some people have that in their ancestry, but it's not like
so
where it
different.
came from.
Not all humans.
It's also not universal yet.
Not all humans have
but ultimately
Neanderthal
different
DNA.
Right, but ultimately different species of humans in the past have bred with one another.
Well, that's not a species. There's only one species.
That would be like a
that's
subgroup.
categorically
That's like
untrue.
mules and- That's horses.
Well,
and
there's
donkeys.
only one species
Like
that is
Australopithecus and Homo erectus were extremely
well,
different
I was speaking in the
species.
present tense.
I
did
also
exist.
think Australopithecus and
I know it's so
Homo
hard to say.
erectus existed at different times.
They did indeed.
So
those were poor
one-
examples, but they could have
one subliminated the other.
certainly. But to get back to the main point here, at what point would I cause this developing mass of human tissue that could develop into a birthed human being a human
Most
being?
likely not a Buick.
No, it's definitely not a Buick. I would say that probably the moment of birth, if I absolutely had to draw a distinguishing line between a human being and not a human being, it would be the point that it is a birthed, functioning, independent human being.
Wow. Okay, that's kind of extreme. Well, that definitely puts you on the far side of the pro-choice debate.
I tend to be
not quite all the way up to the Ralph Northam. At least you're willing to wait, say, until birth, not after birth. It's got to be at least a week after birth.
Yeah.
Well,
Matthew, thank you so much for the call.
There have
I
been
tend to be on the far side of all issues in one direction or another. But go ahead, Rich.
There have been societies where abortion was legal until something like 3 years of age. Ancient Greece, ancient Rome, that was pretty standard.
Tell us what you think. The number's 855-450-3733. Again, that's 855-450-FREE as in Free Talk Live. Or use the Discord call-in lines, which you can find at discord.freetalklive.com.
Business owners, you want more customers? Accept cryptocurrencies. There's people all around you just waiting to spend money at your store. If only you would take it. I know, you've been waiting till someone else makes it easy. Well, good news. HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com adds Bitcoin to your point of sale. Totally free. Use the same equipment you already have, now with Bitcoin. And unlike credit cards, there's no fees. Let the guys at HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com bring new customers to your store. HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com.
Are you concerned that the values that made America great are no longer taught in schools? Well, I am, so I got my son the Tuttle Twins children's book series.
My name is Jack, and I'm 11, and I just finished the Tuttle Twins series. It taught me about liberty, free market economics, and entrepreneurship.
Give all the young people in your life a chance at reason and clear thought, because they're not going to get it at school. There are 9 books in the series, and each one teaches a set of ideas that children aren't getting elsewhere. Go to TuttleTwins.com and use coupon code FTL to get 40% off. That's TuttleTwins.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing. To be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Are you a sneezer? If you're not, can you get close to one? I don't literally mean someone sneezing. Sneezer, as defined by marketing guru Seth Godin, is an opinion leader. When a sneezer mentions something, other people catch what Godin calls the idea virus. Seth Godin says some people are more likely to tell their friends about a great new idea. So identifying and courting sneezers is a key success factor for idea merchants. His book, Unleashing the Idea Virus, is the most downloaded ebook in history, and you can download the whole book free. That's how he's making his idea contagious. Click tips, tricks, and other stuff to help you cut through the clutter at www.survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. Take control of the airwaves and talk about whatever is on your mind. That number is 855-450-FREE, as in Free Talk Live. Again, that's 855-450-3733. Or you can use the Discord call-in lines, which you can find at discord.lrn.fm. And you can get much clearer quality with that. Can somebody take care of that?
Thanks for your help, Jesse, the studio dog.
Yeah, she's so adorable. Anyway, let's go to the phones. We got Troy calling from Montana. Troy, you are on Free Talk Live.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. What's on your mind?
Hey, so there's something that's been bugging me lately for the past 21st century, and it's something to deal with fandoms and, fans of popular movie franchises, TV shows, and everything. But you know what, puts me down the most about the 21st century is that most of these, fandoms and stuff like that, they bring the hype too high to the point that when they release something new from these, so-called TV shows and movies, it tends to kill the hype of these shows. And that's what I've been noticing a lot with TV shows like Game of Thrones, and then also the new sequels from Star Wars, from
certainly
The Last Jedi, which is a really big letdown for most Star Wars fans, including myself. But it was like a 50-50 for me, in my personal opinion. But I noticed that...
Let me say, I agree with the sentiment, especially because I'm a gamer, so I play a lot of video games, and I saw the Mighty Number 9 debacle, the ukulele debacle, all of that. I watched it play out live. Just extremely overhyped games, and No Man's Sky is another great example that could not possibly ever have lived up to the hype that was built around them. So when you promise people heaven, anything short of that is going to be short of that.
Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like for the same issue that happened with Battlefront. That video game that was recently released by DICE and EA, which was called Battlefront 2. It was one of the most hyped games, and they even said, oh, this is not going to be a letdown like we did with Battlefield 1 with a bunch of microtransactions. And look what they did. They did the same exact thing. I've seen
that's EA.
reviews.
Yeah, EA is the devil.
EA.
It sounds like the
is the
time
devil
I
of video
ordered
games.
sea monkeys out of the back of a comic book, and the picture of the sea monkeys had like these sea monkeys with eyes, and they were wearing bridles, and there were little sea people riding around in them. And then when the sea monkeys came, they were like shrimp.
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
it's and that taught me don't believe the hype.
Exactly. And another thing that I just don't like about the 21st century and today as a society is false advertising is so common. Think about it. Since you mentioned the sea monkeys, that was I've seen documentaries about sea monkeys saying that they were false advertising. They were not actually moving. They were a bunch of it was just it was it's hard to explain. It's like money is sold. They sell it, and then they take the money and they just walk away. They don't really care about the customer, the feedback, or anything. That's what I've been noticing with society as a whole. Because I remember watching a video called "Down the Rabbit Hole: Empress Teresa," where this author was talking smack about how his book was the best book ever, and that he was also talked down by critics on Amazon. Something like that. It's a really interesting video if you take time to look at it. It's called Down the Rabbit Hole, Empress Teresa. It's really interesting. And one of the things for sure is that there's other things that businesses do that are kind of scummy. What they do is also they tend to just be lying to your face in commercials. And I recently saw, and it's another example that just came to my mind, is I recently saw that new movie, Toy Story 4. Have you guys seen that movie? Because I don't want to spoil it.
I have not, but I also have no intention of watching it. So
I'm
going to give that one a miss.
I mean, some people listening might intend to watch it.
But more to the point, yes, false advertising is definitely a problem. I'm not sure it's a problem that government can fix or anything like that, because I think in most cases people they want the hype. They want to be excited about the product. And they're just short-sighted enough to not realize that however much they build up the hype is exactly how disappointed they're going to be by the final product.
Exactly. And another thing for sure is that sometimes the most annoying fandom, in my opinion, I'm not trying to start wars or anything. This is my personal opinion, but the most hype that I've seen turn into a dull blade, it was just so bad, was that Game of Thrones did horrible on season 8. I'm not a fan of Game of Thrones, but I have family who won't shut up about it. They just watch it nonstop. They will never stop talking about it. But I remember when Game of Thrones was so hyped, oh my god, season 8 is ready. Oh my god, look, season 8. And they said season 8 was dumb because apparently there is a rumor saying that one of the directors of Game of Thrones was going to do a TV show for Disney, which was for Star Wars. And there is rumors saying that
well, Troy, thank you for the call. I appreciate it. We've got to get back into I knew that was going to come. Luckily, we have a little dump button and a little hang up button, so all of that's taken care of. He didn't actually get out on the air. I had the mouse on the dump button the entire time because all of that just seemed odd.
Yeah, a lot of mouth running for no apparent reason.
Yeah. Well, he's not wrong about hype in general and how it does tend to create an expectation that the product cannot actually fulfill.
Well, he's wrong about it being the worst problem in the 21st century.
It's definitely not the worst problem.
It doesn't make the list.
I would agree entirely. There are bigger things to be worried about than just hype. Speaking of, if you want to learn about those things, you should check out Freedom Fest. It's the largest liberty-oriented gathering in the world. And Freedom Fest's theme this year is the Wild West, liberty and opportunity, or lawlessness and violence. Penn Jillette, Candace Owens, John Mackey, Kevin O'Leary, and Kevin Harrington of Shark Tank, Stephen Moore, Grover Norquist. The list goes on and on. Libertarians, conservatives, liberals, anarchists, capitalists, and just open-minded people will be mingling together to hear real debates, share real solutions, and converse freely. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and get your tickets now. Again, that's freedomfest.com/FTL and use the coupon code FTL50 for a discount. If you're still not convinced, At that website, freedomfest.com/FTL, you will get the 5 best speeches from last year for free. Judge Napolitano, Alan Dershowitz, Charlie Kirk, Heather McDonald, and John Mackey, all for free. So go check it out. That's freedomfest.com/FTL. Now, getting back into the discussion about the infants versus abortion, because we have another caller on the line who wants to discuss that, and I think it's probably something that was worth discussing. I don't necessarily
talk show hell.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily going to stand by my statement that a fetus is a human being after the moment of birth or even before the moment of birth. It's not a decision for me to make, ultimately.
See, my church holds the right that rights are assigned at birth because that's arbitrarily the most sensible place to put them.
I would agree, and that's probably why I would say the moment of birth. I mean, prior to that, it is a...
Well, that's a separate question than what species are you? So fetuses are humans, cops are humans, people who are currently robbing you with nukes are human. Well, that doesn't make sense. People who are currently robbing you with, rifles are humans. Then can you kill them is a separate question.
I would agree. More to the point, prior to birth, the fetus is 100% dependent upon the other person.
Yeah, I would say that a fetus is a human, but not a person until birth.
I think I would agree with that statement. That's a pretty fair way of putting it. Let us know what you think. 855-450-3733. Again, that's 855-450-FREE, as in Free Talk Live. Or use the Discord call-in lines, which you can find at discord.freetalklive.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Finally, there's a way for you to get into the blockchain, the hottest financial sector without all the speculation. Now, enjoy a 27% annualized payment each month without the ups and downs of Bitcoin. Seen on programs broadcast on Fox Business News, blockchain data centers offer an equipment leasing program in the explosive digital asset marketplace. Inspired by entrepreneurs who sold picks and shovels during the gold rush, the money is in the mining equipment used to manufacture dozens of critical digital assets. Not a security, IPO, or note, blockchain data centers have a proven turnkey equipment sale leaseback program with a 27% annualized lease payment deposited into your bank account each month. Don't miss this one. Stake your claim today. Call 800-600-3388. That's 800-600-3388. These valuable lease contracts won't last long. Call now. 800-600-3388. 800-600-3388. Equipment offered poses a financial risk to owners. Consult with financial professionals before purchasing. Not an offer to buy or sell a security which requires an offering document.
Fellow Patriots, my name is Todd Savage, founder of BlackRifleRealEstate.com. Like you, I was a prisoner of the alt-left sanctuary state until one day I chose to lead my family to freedom. Today we live on a sustainable 20-acre homestead where we shoot, hunt, garden, and homeschool our children without the tyranny of the nanny state looking over us. If you're ready to flee the city to the freedom of Idaho or Montana, our Black Rifle Real Estate team is here to help. Go to BlackRifleRealEstate.com. That's BlackRifleRealEstate.com.
Free Talk Live.
There's been all kinds of immigrants coming from all kinds of places, living in little enclaves, speaking their native tongue. Their kids, they learn English, and then their kids, they don't even know their native tongue.
Right.
So see,
That's
Trish,
what he's explaining to you, Trish, is that this is a natural process. When you let people come here, they naturally want to learn English.
What kind of lawbreaking to put our lives in danger?
Wait, what lawbreaking are you talking about, Trish?
Sir, do you understand?
What lawbreaking are you referring to,
people can't leave
Trish?
their dogs out because these people will eat them. Do you
You are outrageous.
Yes.
We forgot the part. It was just lepers, and now it's murdering, raping, dog-eating lepers.
Amazing. I mean, what else can you say to this?
It's just
this is outrageous.
Trish, you are putting the J in jingoist.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it! You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. Talk about whatever is on your mind. That number is 855-450-3733. And I want you to take a moment to go over to amp.freetalklive.com. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. And for just $5 a month, you can help Free Talk get onto what is now more than 200 radio stations throughout the month. Our current sponsor is David LV, a silver amplifier. You don't have to contribute more than $5 a month, but hey, we're not gonna complain if you do. Help us advertise, market, and promote the show. Again, that's amp.freetalklive.com. So please head on over and check that out. Let's get right back into the phones. We got Carl calling in from Huntsville, Alabama. Carl, you are on Free Talk Live.
Okay, well, thank you for allowing me to correct you, possibly.
Absolutely.
But I would like to point out that I learned them as pygmy chimpanzees, so I don't ever quite remember what the other name is. But the pygmy chimpanzees are a strange society. They all have sex with everybody. When the female or juvenile female reaches
I think these would be the bonobos. They're extremely
bonobos,
sexually promiscuous. Yeah, I mean they will have sex with infants.
Do what? Yes, they will. And as soon as the infant becomes, or the female becomes able to bear others, her relative males leave her alone, which is quite unusual in how they do this. But different species, I've got a question on that. When you have Rh positive and Rh negative. If I'm not mistaken, if Rh pregnant tries to impregnate an Rh negative, the Rh negative kills it. Second of all,
is that universally true, though?
Yes. That's why they used to have the blood test to make sure that those two weren't getting married and the Rh negative wasn't a female. The second aspect is the Mayans actually, I wonder if they're not somewhat of a different species, have a different skull, and they don't get cavities. So how do they fit in with everybody else? And
interesting. Well, sickle cell anemia can only affect black people, but they're not a different species. So I mean,
no, it can't. Half the people around the Mediterranean are affected by that.
Okay. Well, it doesn't affect Caucasians, then, is how I'll put it.
Okay, yeah, so if the mom's Rh negative and the dad's Rh positive, then the baby isn't necessarily Rh positive.
No, the baby doesn't exist because the Rh negative aborts the attempted mating or the fetus. So It just doesn't happen.
Well, no, but if one of your parents is Rh negative and one is Rh positive, you could be either.
So it doesn't end
No,
the
you
pregnancy.
cannot. If the female is Rh negative, there's not going to be an infant.
What source
Let's
are you pulling
everybody
up?
say that so we can understand it. If the female is an Rh negative, there will be no infant.
I don't even know what Rh negative means. I'm not a biologist.
That's
Biology
a
was
blood
always-
type.
Rh is not a blood type.
It's a blood group.
Okay.
It's a blood group. Okay, everybody's divided into two blood groups: Rh negative and Rh positive. And most of them are found in the Pyrenees Mountains. Okay, if the female is Rh negative, there will be no offspring.
Okay, I will
No
have to
ifs,
look into
ands, or
this a
buts.
bit further. The website that I immediately go to on this discussion is a .edu article that will take me a fair bit of time to read. I can't necessarily do it on the air.
Okay.
So I'm just
Well,
going to
then
give you the
can-
benefit
you
of the
can-
doubt here and say you're correct.
Okay, well, you can criticize me when you find it, if you can find it that way.
Okay.
The other one is the Mayans have a different brain or a different skull and don't get cavities, so I wonder why aren't they somewhat a different species or subspecies? But
I don't know,
getting back to, I don't either, and I haven't been able to find the answer. But getting back to humans, and some people refer to it as a parasite. So, if it is actually a parasite, as soon as she discovers she's got a parasite, the medical profession should offer to abort it. If she decides to keep the parasite, she shouldn't be entitled to any medical care unless she goes to a vet, because that would be malpractice by a doctor, because he's been assigned to do it as a human, since they're parasites. He should not
Are
be
you
able to-
alleging that a human cannot be a parasite?
No,
Have
I'm
you ever
saying
met
a lot
a
of people are saying
socialist?
that human infants are parasites in the female body.
Okay.
So if that is the
I would
case,
agree. It is literally a parasite.
I would not characterize it as a parasite and that it's offspring.
I've heard definitions of parasites that both included and excluded being a member of a different species. So based on whether that's part of the definition or not, then it is or isn't.
Well, 20, 30 years ago, I often thought of, the infant is a parasite, but I would not classify it really the way it comes about in being, in a sense, it's a parasite.
Well,
But I would not consider...
Carl, thank you so much for the call. We got another caller on the lines that we absolutely have to get to before the end of the show. I would agree that a fetus is literally a parasite, at least one of the same species.
Yeah, I would say it's more of a symbiotic relationship if you look at the full life cycle of a family of people.
Sure, but that's predicting the future.
Yeah, that's not a biological fact, though, that your kids will take care of you later.
That's true as well.
It's not a biological fact, but it's frequently the case, and sometimes symbiosis doesn't work out, I'm sure.
Let's go to David in New Mexico. Wants to talk about personhood. David, what's on your mind? You're on Free Talk Live.
Well, I wanted to ask you, so what is it about a baby being still inside of the mother that makes it not a person?
I would define personhood as having a consciousness, having sapience, and having sentience.
Okay, so, a baby inside, a fetus inside has all of those.
Not at every age.
At virtually every age.
No, because
science
embryos
disagrees.
definitely don't have sapience.
Oh,
And
okay,
until they
so
have a
when-
brain,
when-
they definitely don't have sapience.
So when does it start?
When does sapience start? The last article I read on that was at earliest 6 months.
At 6 months. Okay, I would.
But I'm not a
argue that it
neurologist.
comes- okay, well, I would argue it comes well before 6 months. If you want to do this for fun, Google what a fetus looks like at 6 months, and actually, if you want to,
Appearances
Google
are not appearances are not worth a whole lot.
Well,
just
no,
because
no,
just because an AI. Hold on, David. Just
appearances
because
are worth a lot.
They're not. And I think we should look below the surface and not make these sorts of judgments based solely upon appearance. If I was to build a robot that appeared to have sapience, that doesn't necessarily mean or suggest that it has sapience just because it seems to act like it does.
So do CT cross sections of a brain, which are an appearance, do they not mean anything in the medical context?
Those are measurements. Not, boy, that's
do
a measurement. That's not looking at a fetus and going, well, it's got a skull and a brain. I'm sure it's sapient.
If you take a fetus at 6 months and cut its head off and slice its brain in half and look at a cross section of its brain, why don't you Google that? There's probably images of that. See what it looks like. It probably looks like it's very intricate and probably very close to looking like an adult brain at 6 months. And I would say that most certainly, based on its physical appearance, it also has a physical functioning that is as close to full developed as its appearance is.
Let me raise you one. Cut off a dog's head, open up the dog's brain, and you tell me whether or not it looks like it has sapience. We're not qualified to make these measurements.
I don't know if you can tell sapience from a CT scan or not.
I wouldn't think you would be able to.
Certainly you can. If a car
Are
looks
you a
like
neurologist,
a fully functioning...
David?
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay. Then go right ahead, sir.
If a car looks like a fully functioning car, if it's got the wheels and the tires and the motor and the tranny, it probably will function like that. That's a joke, so you can.
Yeah,
you got the joke right.
Yeah, it was a bit of a miss of a joke. Really not accurate. I mean, that's a really bad way to judge things.
Yeah, you can't look at, it does look like a person because it is a person, and I'm not advocating killing them, but something that doesn't have a brain yet is not sapience.
I would absolutely agree. And just because it has a brain doesn't necessarily mean it's sapient, as I was saying in regard to dogs. I mean, just because they have brains, and you might look at it under a microscope and go, golly, gee, that's complex. That doesn't mean it's got sapience.
AOC looks like she would be sapient.
This is Free Talk Live. We'll be back at this time tomorrow.
Would you like to hang out with Penn Jillette? He's keynoting Freedom Fest this year. I, for one, am thrilled. Freedom Fest is the largest liberty-oriented gathering in the world. They take a Big Ten approach with libertarians, conservatives, liberals, anarchists, and just open-minded people mingling together to hear real debates, share real solutions, and converse freely. This year's theme is the Wild West, a time of liberty and opportunity, or a time of anarchy and violence. Maybe both. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and get your tickets now. freedomfest.com/FTL. Not convinced yet? Hey, I understand. It's a high-end event, even with coupon code FTLEB. Sure, you're likely to receive investment advice that'll make that sum seem paltry, but I have something special for you. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and you'll get the 5 best speeches from last year for free. Call it a test drive. Do yourself a favor and go to freedomfest.com/FTL. freedomfest.com/FTL. Use coupon code FTLEB for a discount.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
The latest episode of Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock is next after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,409, silver at $15.24, and Bitcoin is trading around $10,812. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, in a decision that voting rights advocates warned would open the floodgates for even more extreme and undemocratic redistricting than what is already in place throughout the nation, the Supreme Court effectively condoned partisan gerrymandering on Thursday by ruling that the practice is beyond its constitutional reach. The Mind Unleashed reports the ruling was 5-4 along party lines, with conservative Chief Justice John Roberts writing the majority opinion. Slate legal journalist Mark Joseph Stern tweeted Thursday that the High Court's ruling is the, quote, nightmare scenario for voting rights advocates, end quote. Frida Levinson, legal director at ACLU of Ohio, said the Supreme Court's ruling will allow the practice of gerrymandering to continue, to flourish, and to evade review by the judicial system, and leaves redistricting in the hands of those who will continue to abuse their awesome power whenever they can to defeat the will of the voters. In a scathing dissent, liberal Justice Alina Kagan accused the High Court's 5 conservative judges of abdicating their constitutional duties, quote, just when the courts across the country, including those below, have coalesced around manageable judicial standards to resolve partisan gerrymandering claims, end quote. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. Twitter, on Thursday, announced it would suppress President Trump's tweets going into the 2020 election by downranking those which violate their rules via algorithms. Offensive material from the President of the United States will also receive a label that applies to all verified political candidates and government officials with over 100,000 followers. According to the Washington Post, before users can view the language in newly flagged tweets, they will need to click on a screen that says the Twitter rules about abusive behavior apply to this tweet. However, Twitter has determined that it may be in the public's interest for the tweet to remain available. The Mind Unleashed reports Twitter will deprioritize the labeled tweets so they would be seen by fewer people, which adds that the policy will go into effect immediately and will not apply to other influencers and leaders. It's also not retroactive. A Brazilian Air Force pilot, who was one of the crew members on their way to serve as the advance guard for Brazil President Bolsonaro during the forthcoming G20 summit in Osaka, was arrested during a stopover in Seville en route to Japan, after Spanish customs officers discovered enough cocaine on him to fuel a small Wall Street bank's party for a month, in what has become an international embarrassment for Bolsonaro, who is known as Brazil's Trump and also the country's self-professed law and order president. The Mind Unleashed reports the 38-year-old airman appeared in court Wednesday on charges of drug trafficking after Spanish officials discovered 37 packets of cocaine weighing a total of 39 kilos in baggage. Officers from Spain's Guardia Civil took the crew member into custody, and a police spokesman in Seville said the whole bag was filled with drugs. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
And if you thought things couldn't get more infantile and aesthetically insulting than Fergie, Kesha, or Katy Perry, then you obviously haven't met 22-year-old Karonica, the latest and most horrid, talent-bereft pop monstrosity the music industry has ever sadistically forced down the American public's collective throat. She's here with us in the studio right now.
What?
Now tell us, Karonica, how did you first decide that you wanted to be the cipher through which the cynicism of a morally bankrupt industry is channeled?
Yo, I just do what I do. Know what I'm saying? It's like people just love my ish.
Right. You are in the middle of your sold-out Damn Girl tour.
Damn girl, that's right.
Which is a heinous slap in the face to the English language, and will also travel to 47 cities, sapping the intellects of every young person along the way.
I said, damn girl, that's right.
There's no light in your eyes, Karonica.
I got nothing to say to the haters.
I hate you.
This is the Onion News Network.
And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Today, let us make them remember. We are not afraid!
Yeah. Undefeated here and declare your independence with me, Ernest Hancock, here in Blaine, Washington. As I remember. I know where I'm at. Blaine, Washington, here at the last show we're going to be doing this. We're going to leave from here right after the show and go on vacay with some friends up in on the Columbia here that we do try out each year. And so we're going to be hanging there. We're spending time with Jacob Lamont, the owner of Evergreen Dispensary here. We got to go to, Saturday. We got to go to one of the suppliers of the paraphernalia thing. We'll talk about that, all the good days. Imagine like wholesale place for the dispensaries, and you got like a Walmart, or at least a Walgreens. You go and it's it's like a Home Depot. That's what it is. Home Depot bongs. We got some bongs. And all of it was, okay, this one thing that was kind of weird. They have stash, hiding stuff in, a Coca-Cola can, or you got, a can of soup or whatever, and it's got false bottoms, or you screwed out, and I'm going, why? I thought it was legal. Who cares, But, they have that, and we go around the corner, and I'm got like, oil cans and STP and brake fluid, and I'm trying to screw it. I go, where's this going? He goes, no, that's really brake fluid. I'm going, well, what the hell is it doing in here? What is up with that anyway?
They also supply like little head shops, but in marijuana stores. But you also got the convenience stores that come and buy some glass and smoking products, and you can pick up your transmission fluid and things like that.
Well, those guys, they were Asian, but I couldn't tell. Were they Korean, Chinese? Do we know?
I don't know.
I don't know. They spoke in their language.
Yeah.
But they like, marijuana been very good to us.
Yeah.
So, that's one thing that you find out is you got the growers. That'd be like, it's grown or it's mined. I mean, if you're